Don't laugh.
Shh. Shh. Shut up, Hep.
Shut up and sit down.
Number 5 is alive.
Nice software.
My blanket is complete. The long handles, banana seat.
More input.
I like my blanket.
Beautiful. I am alive.
For schoolwork or in the day, yeah. I like
You are listening to the Dialed Podcast with Matt Lee Grand, Evan Price, Lance Hepler, and Jake Von Turing. Always laugh when you can. It is cheap medicine. Enjoy the podcast.
all right.
I promise teach karate and fighting always last answer. If come from inside you, always right to
No
answer.
need to stop for gas.
Concentrate, focus, power. Remember balance. No mercy.
On my bike.
White train.
So I won't have to fight.
You think I'm talking about breaking the law?
No, I'm just trying to figure out how far you want it back.
Is it how we fly?
I get paid to be suspicious when I got nothing to be suspicious about.
I like my bike.
I know you'll do your best to protect the firm. We have faith that you're going to be with us for a long, long time, Mitch. Fact is, nobody has ever left us. Nobody.
Hi, welcome to the Dial Podcast. I am Jake Von Turing. I'm here with Lance Epler.
Lance Romance right here in studio.
In studio, the mustache looks rough today.
It's weird.
What's the matter with you?
I'm waxless.
Oh, is that what's going on?
No wax.
Okay.
I just have beard oil in it. You know why? I finally took a shower this morning.
Oh, showering.
I've
Once-
just been jumping in the pool after
Once a
rides.
month.
Once a month.
whether you need it or not.
Get in there and scrub it down.
You're like my kids.
Does anything have to do with that respirator that you've been wearing?
I have been wearing this giant, like, indoor painting respirator around because our air quality is so atrocious in the Pacific
Spectacular
Northwest.
here right now. What are you talking about?
What
Can
are
you hear me through this thing?
You sound better that way.
I
Can't actually.
sound better.
This nicely muffles.
What are our air quality numbers today?
It was at 350.
350?
I
Okay.
don't know. And Camus was just
We're sitting in the
4 something.
5s, I think. I think it depends on what
Where you
source you look at too.
This
I feel
says
like these-
330 according to.
I like that. That's a more optimistic view than what
Yeah.
I looked at this morning, so I'll take that.
But it was like 500 yesterday.
oh, it was mid 5s.
I
yeah.
see 418 on this app, but they're all kind of all over the place. But,
Yeah.
I think it's just bad. I think is what they
Generally, it's ugly.
Just
Yeah.
don't breathe outside.
Yeah.
I don't care how dumb this respirator thing looks. I've been walking around outside with. Well, I'm only going outside to get the mail.
Get into the car and
Yeah.
Usually, don't you take your e-bike over there?
I take my e-bike down to the
with the
mailbox
respirator on.
with the respirator on.
Yeah, it's, that definitely has like a Mad Max kind of like vibe to it with you on your e-bike.
I know, it does.
with the respirator.
Respirator on.
Very
And the- and the-
Chernobyl-y.
and the
you know?
sky is
And the
orange.
sky's orange. That's Mad Max, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I got to get you the setup that I saw yesterday. I was in Portland visiting a friend, and there's a guy riding down the road, and I see him coming up towards me. I'm like, what an idiot. What's he doing out riding in this? It's terrible. And then as he got closer, I'm like, oh, I get it. That is freaking awesome. He's wearing a full-on, like, World War II gas mask.
Oh, yeah.
The full thing. Like, his
The
entire
whole
head was
gas
like,
mask.
yeah.
Did he have a helmet on top of that?
Yes. It looked.
Yes!
It's actually more impressive that you could fit the helmet over the top of the entire getup.
Full everything. Respirator, covered face shield. It was pretty cool.
I love that.
I feel like we need cameras at our hips at all times for these
right.
situations.
We do.
Oh, and to his right, Evan Price.
We are all drinking Spindrift right now.
I have water,
Brought to us
too.
by, this was Randy Frosty Bros.
Thank you, Randy.
Yes, thank you, Randy.
This is the
Thank
gift
you.
that keeps on giving. I swear that box is over there just
It
turning
is. It's
these
like the
things out like little
never-ending
bunny
box of
rabbits. Yeah.
Spindrift, yeah.
Devin's right, Matt LeGrand.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen of the internet? I am drinking Polar. Sorry.
Oh, he was drinking
Yeah.
Polar.
Throw a
You
mix.
snuck in the raspberry lime.
Yeah.
Good flavor choice, though.
Yep.
Awesome. How about some backpedaling? Matt, what you been up to, bud?
You been outside?
On Zwift. I've been on Zwift.
Kind of outside.
Okay, so if I think about this week, the only ride of note is Monday's ride with you guys.
We did ride together.
We did a
That was what I
podcast,
heard.
which we really don't ride together very often. It happens a couple times a year. The whole podcast gets together for a ride. And it was Labor Day, and we went out after the podcast. we knew full well that it was going to be on, right? Like pretty quickly. What I didn't realize was that when Lance did a lancing, like that he would normally do, and I immediately like started putting out 500 watts, which is max, right? Which I'm going nowhere. I'm not catching Lance or anything like that.
VO2 level. Yeah.
This is maxing out. What I did not expect was Evan's girlfriend to come past me like I was standing still.
Cassie's strong right now.
Yeah.
She's strong on the bicycle.
I was fully...
And she's got a new bike, too.
So that's what it is. New bike power.
Yep.
But I thought for sure, like she's stronger than me. She would destroy me, after an hour of riding or so. Like she'll be dropping me, no problem. I did not expect her to beat me, going like on a faster sprintish type thing early in the ride. So...
She's got you in the front and the back, so you got to get her in the middle. So you got to attack her in the middle.
Yeah. She's like, I'm going to turn here, and I'm like, oh, I'm going a different direction. See you later. Just a coincidence that I'm going a different direction than you.
She was bummed. She turned back early. She was like, I could have kept on riding. I wanted to keep on riding. I was like, you should have. You were looking fine. Like she was good.
I really enjoyed riding with you guys.
It got so windy.
I also really enjoyed when you guys were like, we're gonna go over this segment, and I was like, I gotta head home. I really enjoyed not riding with you guys when I actually got to go home. But at least Jake was able to catch me at the very end. He like did the extra segment and then still like was able to bike down my measly 100 to 110 watts I was putting out.
You went well over your prescribed wattage quite a few times on Monday.
We did.
Saw Matt riding on his little bike path he was talking about in the last podcast.
That's right.
That's where I caught him.
That's where he got him on the bike path.
Yeah, man. I still stand by my bike path.
I still firmly stand by the bike.
But yeah, I was pushing hard and it was going 9 miles an hour, and that was it. Like it was just so much wind.
Yeah, when we started that ride, there wasn't much wind. I mean, there was a breeze to our back, and then as the ride went on, it started to pick up more and more. So we didn't really get the true benefit of the wind heading out.
No,
but we sure got the full benefit of getting to ride through it on the way back. That was quite the workout.
And well, we came back, and Jake and I decided to attack a segment that I had several months before, but some local
we're gonna talk about this in our backpedal. Because I have a theory as to what's going on.
This is the backpedal.
I do. So I have a theory about this. This group is the Pacific Medical Group Cycling Team.
No.
Pacific Office Automation.
Thank you. I don't know why I keep on calling them that. That's like the third time I've called them that.
It's a competing team.
And I called them Pacific Medical Office earlier too. Yeah. So okay, Pacific Automotive. One more time.
Just say
Pacific
POA.
POA. Pacific Office Automation.
Nothing to do with.
Oh, so they don't do with cars or medicine.
No, it's like office equipment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gotcha.
They're the sponsor of this. They're the major sponsor of this.
Yes.
Of this competing team,
which is a very fast local team.
We love this team. We love the riders on it. They're great guys
all over this team, but I believe they are out trying to take dialed KOMs right now. I believe there is a concentrated effort on some dialed efforts in Vancouver.
That would be awesome if that was the case.
I think it is.
If it is the case, good job.
There's a bounty on.
I think there's a bounty because
KOMs.
all of a sudden there were within a week quite a few that went down in Vancouver. These aren't Portland KOMs. These are Vancouver KOMs.
I lost 8 this last week to POA guys.
I don't think this is by accident.
8 different KOMs.
I do not believe this is by
accident.
I
took like 4 back and got like 4 different ones, but I did lose a bunch.
I think I lost 2, so yeah. Not sure what's going on.
That was one of. We're on this group ride, and we had a bit of a tailwind, and Jake and I decided, okay, these 2 guys took this KOM from us. We're going to take it back. And oh my gosh.
Completely unassisted by wind.
Nope, it was, just raw, dead wind. No wind.
It was definitely wind assisted.
40 miles an hour, I believe.
It was, I think I'll actually find.
The gorge had 60 mile an hour gusts.
I'm sure that theirs was also assisted, wind assisted. I mean, that area is just going to be windy, right?
The wind speed was 7.3 miles per hour, according to
oh wow, I thought it was
Strava. It was probably more than that. But this is a 2-mile section, and it was great. Actually, Matt, you
guarded the intersection.
You guarded the intersection to make sure it was safe for us to come through. And I don't know what did that look like when Jake and I came through, because we.
Yeah, fine. You guys looked like you're under control.
We hit it at like.
Yeah, there was no
The turn
30.
came through pretty quick.
Oh, Jake has video of it.
Yeah, we got the video here. Stay tuned. We'll post that up. I've got some stuff that I'm working on.
I'm super curious.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that that was low hanging fruit with that much wind, and I had no doubt that was going down. I was glad to move on and not participate.
Part of that. Yeah, exactly. And then Matt had to write. I mean, really, probably on your way back home, that's when the wind really picked up.
I think that's really when the fires picked up too, because you've got
major
really
wind.
dry conditions.
Yep.
You've got some fires that were already going on, and then you had this massive amount of wind come through and stick around for a day and a half.
That was the last clear day we had, right? Because Tuesday's when the smoke blew.
No, Tuesday was okay. We rode on Wednesday, and that's when it was blue skies here, and then you could see this ominous bank of smoke that was just kind of slowly creeping north.
Right.
And we just barely were able to squeeze in a ride on Wednesday. Then after that, it was over.
I think it was like the large amount of wind was keeping the smoke down until
And it just whipped up all the fires.
Whipped up all the fires, and then it was done.
And moved them very quickly too. I mean, there was
It's actually been terrible. The wildfires here in Oregon and Washington,
historically awful.
We've had several deaths. We've had several towns just get
decimated, just
burnt to the ground.
Yeah,
I know. There's no amount on this podcast of thoughts and prayers we could say, but I mean, this is the Pacific Northwest is suffering right now, and I feel very lucky to not be directly involved with that at the moment. But God, it's terrible for anybody involved. Absolutely terrible.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's my back pedal. Well, I mean,
what day are we on the
I
dial
swam
100?
a couple times.
Yeah.
You guys don't care.
Today,
you want to hear about the swim workout?
I care because I tried. Today, by the way, this is the new COVID 2020 thing to get mad about at pools.
Oh yeah.
Signed up for a time, went there, said I had a reserve spot. Pool's full. I don't know who the culprit was because I can't go down each lane and be like, "Excuse me, sir, did you actually have this hour slot?"
I would.
I was pretty mad about that.
You should be.
I was very mad. I know. It's the new thing to get.
They need to have
frustrated
you
about
need to
for
be
people
assigned a lane specifically when you sign up.
Yeah, you should be assigned. Oh, that would actually be
a dry
not bad.
erase board or something like that on
Yeah,
there.
like an
have
actual
your time.
lane.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your name and your time, and then
Yeah, because they just have slots for the full lane. But whatever. I'll get in tomorrow.
What's your back pedal there, Mr. Price?
Oh, that was Matt. Matt basically said the best part the last time.
Matt, were you going to talk about your swimming? Did you really want to go through
hear about it?
No.
Yeah.
You
No.
About it?
I want to.
No. No one cares.
I want to hear
No one
about
cares
Matt
about my
swimming because he's
swimming.
actually swimming
Passively
pretty
trying
well
to
lately.
move on,
I don't think
but
I'm
Way to
swimming
go.
like
What are you
once or
trying
twice
to
a
do,
week. I'm doing
Jake?
okay.
You had like a 6x100 workout, which was pretty solid. That showed that you still got some 100 get up.
Yeah, you blew it, Jake.
It's fine. Swimming's okay. It's not where it was.
We're
But that's
trending
okay.
around the world in swimming, though. I don't know why.
How's Lacamus's
Yeah.
bubble, like smoke wise? Is it okay?
No,
Is it not?
they've moved. All the swimming is going to be moved indoors, and so
Gotcha.
I'm really not going to be able to swim for this week. I don't think. Well, we'll
Maybe
see what happens
Wednesday,
with fires.
Thursday. We'll see.
I could
Today being
probably
Monday.
do the indoor pool, but they have 3 lanes and they're very crowded because everyone's trying to do that. So
Here's an idea: swim at Fawn Leaf Lake with a snorkel, with a little
The gas
filter on top of the
Gas
snorkel,
mask.
and you're
Really
good.
nice.
Take
idea.
one of these little circles here and just shove it on top of the snorkel.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then you're good.
All right.
Actually,
Let's
probably
do
be
it.
genuinely having your face underwater is probably the safest place your face could be.
Yeah,
these
as long as you don't
days.
breathe air.
As long as you don't need air at any point.
Scuba tank. Or scuba tank, yeah.
Okay,
That'd be awesome.
sounds good.
That really would be
How
the
are you
safest
doing
place.
on your dialed 100, Matt? Are you still up?
I didn't bike yet today, but I have not missed a day yet.
We're on day
What are
27?
we? 27?
Today's 27.
You are over a quarter of the way there.
If I can get a ride in today, which I should be able to. I mean, I'm doing my standard bike easy, except for when I rode with you guys. Bike easy for an hour. And I keep thinking like, all right, well, tomorrow I got to do like a workout. I got to start doing some stuff. And I'm just like, nope. I keep bailing on it. I get on the bike and I'm like, nah, my legs are exhausted.
I think it was Friday. I was on the trainer.
Yeah.
And I'm just trucking along. I'm watching some.
You were taking it easy because that was...
Yeah.
It was Friday night.
Fridays are easy.
Was it Friday night?
Yeah. And I looked down and I'm like, oh, there's Matt.
I sent you a message like, hey, I'm next to you.
Did you send it on Zwift?
Yeah, on Zwift.
I don't pay attention to that.
I figured you were watching something or whatever.
But
I
noticed
rode
you're
with you for like half an hour.
Yeah, you were back
It was
there
good.
for like a little while. So
We're
Catch up
Zwift,
on the
and
tour.
you can follow us on Zwift, and you guys can ride with us
There you
if
go.
you guys want to. It's gonna 100 watts.
It's good.
It's
Be
exciting.
slow and steady.
It's exciting.
Don't be that guy.
Yep. So yeah,
cool.
that's it.
Awesome.
Good.
Evan.
I haven't. So yeah, on Monday, we did. Oh no, wait, I did talk about having a bad blister last time, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think I did. I'm pretty sure I told that story. Anyway, that was basically the most exciting thing that happened all week to me was a blister and that ride on Monday.
Riding with the group.
And outside of that, it's been a careful kind of trying to make the garage a safe place to train as possible.
I was going to hit you up for some treadmill time. I'm like, someone's got to be in the dialed lab.
So this is so yes. Here, anybody, well, if you need, you can come in over the endurance lab and use the treadmill. But our home garage treadmill just broke on Sunday, which was so. The funny thing is, Josh Munda, who I've been training with, comes over to use the treadmill.
Yeah.
And he felt so bad about this, but it was entirely not his fault. I had broken the treadmill basically like 3 days ago and kept running on it. There was a flex in the middle that was like not a natural flex. You're like, this isn't good. Like this thing's kind of collapsing in a little bit. But we're like, let's just keep on running on it for a bit and see what happens. On Sunday, I did my last long run, and by the end of the long run, I was like, it's collapsing in over the middle. Josh was coming over just for an easy run. Jumps on. He gets 6 miles. I don't know how he got 6 miles in. But the floorboard was, before he even started, was actually cracked all the way in the middle, the deck, as we found out later, and then just at some point just like rolled up the belt because it kind of collapsed inward, which is fine. We just need to buy the 2 new parts. It was like last week I could start to tell on my runs, I was like, this thing's starting to break down. So, of course, all weeks for that to do, that has to be when the air quality is so bad outside that like there's nowhere else to run. But yeah, that and
your stash is coming in nicely.
My stash is coming in strong.
God, that's an important backpedal moment.
Riding a lot on Zwift. I rode on Zwift with Lance this morning.
What?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah, when I was getting my ride in.
Do you just like randomly sign on and you're like, Lance is on. I'm going to.
No,
Lance rode
he
with
was
me,
on,
yeah.
and I'm like, oh, Evan's on. And so I spawned next to him.
Yeah. So same thing. I saw Jake and I'm like, oh, Jake's on. And Maddie Wick's on. And I was like, who's going to be less likely to drop me on this ride?
Yeah.
I'm gonna ride with Jake. I'm gonna ride with Jake. Man, yeah, Maddie's strong, man. She's
I know. Yeah, she's
probably doing a workout or something.
Strong in all three. Yeah, she was doing a workout today.
Yeah. Oh, it was Friday, but yeah.
Oh, what was Friday? She may have just been riding easy Friday, but yeah. Outside of that, I have finally figured out the blister situation to where I can make it runnable, and it's been feeling great. It's just a combination of Leuco tape, a little bit of duct tape, a little bit of tissue paper, some moleskin, and 2 Band-Aids.
That's a lot of material.
It is. I think we're pretty close to where it's going to be okay going forward.
I had a buddy that I ran with for so many years. Same thing. It was like moleskin, duct tape.
Yeah.
Like he had this like procedure. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, how do you guys do that?
This actually works for well this is, and
Crazy.
Matt knows that this is dumb, but I took a new pair of Zoom flies out to the track on Monday and ran the entire 14 miles on the track on new shoes and literally had a burn wound on my foot. Like it was a bedded wound, which bedding means that the center has decreased away from the epidermis, so it's away from the
Maybe don't
skin.
run for a little while.
You see, that would be an option, but then Tuesday, Wednesday, I didn't run. And I was like, oh man, I'm really.
I think you should bring 2 pairs of shoes to the track, and I
Yeah.
think you should like do your warm ups in a pair of shoes and then
Would've
switch
been
out to your
smart.
lighter
I just
weight.
wasn't even thinking. I just forgot how high volume that workout was going to
Well,
be.
even
yeah.
no matter what, just for like the speed of having lighter weight
Yeah.
shoes when you switch into them, I think that there's a mental piece to that as
There
well.
is. Click
It's
into
like
the workout. Yeah.
It's like switching onto your speed suit or something for track. I can't. I'm trying to figure out a
Put
way
on the
to
race wheels on the race bike. It's like putting on the
something.
You know, yeah.
You
Put
guys
the disc on
always
the
ride
time
around
trial
with your
bike.
race wheels. You guys don't switch into a time trial speed suit. But
No.
It's when you like drop bottles at the bottom of a KOM climb.
There you go. There you go.
There you go. But yeah, that was it. That's basically it.
About you, Hep?
I did some stuff.
Did some
Things and stuff.
Yeah.
I was looking at the numbers. I had a big week.
Did you?
More than I thought. Like,
how did you do that?
18 hours and 350 miles.
Because most of that was probably early in the week.
Yeah, our
He cheated on us. He ran away from home.
Oh, you did?
I did take up. We did that. We did our dialed our podcast ride, which was great fun. I went out the next day and just chased KOMs with the wind.
Oh yeah, that was fun.
Which was also very fun. Then we had a team ride, but there was only 5 or 6 of us on Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
There was 5 of us, but there was a B group that went out
B
earlier.
group that went earlier.
Yeah, we just never caught them.
We did not catch them, and it was not slow.
Yeah.
The team ride was spirited. So
yeah, those Wednesday night rides are always going to be.
Oh my gosh,
Wednesday night World Championships. I mean, it's going to be. It's going to be hard.
It was sprint practice again, like it normally is.
Yeah.
You know, Jake and I are and and Ian are all sprinting for the stop ahead signs. And Jake won again this week. I only beat him on one, so he got, I think you had 4?
5.
Yeah. Jake had 5.
I would have got you on that last one,
I know.
too, but you freaking blocked the road perfectly.
I had
that was payback for the one that I did to you earlier. So
there was no other way to do it.
It was like, go in the bushes or go head on with the car. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to let him have this one. So
I'm trying to learn more ways to beat you, and that was one of the ways to beat you, is to not give you a lane.
We were moving at that point in time. We came into that corner hot.
This is like the Sam Bennett Peter Sagan thing. Is Lance has now realized he cannot get Jake.
So he's like that, but more serious.
He's got, but actually not a joke. Yeah,
big time stuff, man.
But it was we went into a corner like 35 or 36.
Jeez. It was close to 40.
Yeah, and we were moving. Yeah. Anyway,
I was set up perfectly, and if that car wasn't there and I had line of sight, I could have, but it just wasn't going to work out.
And I heard Jake behind me go, "Oh, you got me!" I had to post up.
That was fun.
Anyway, we had a good time. It was always fun. After that, our air quality started to deteriorate rapidly. It became unsafe. Just so people know, safe air quality is in the 50s.
50 to 100, I think.
50 to 100 is safe.
0 to 60, I thought.
0 to 60, yeah. Once you get close to 100, it's considered for sensitive
unhealthy,
groups.
But
for sensitive groups, it's considered unhealthy.
Yeah. And we've, in the Portland area, we've been in the 500s for the last few days. So it is...
Anything over 150 is bad. And then once you get over 300, it's considered very hazardous, even for 60 seconds outside. Yeah. So
this morning was like, oh, we're at 300. Awesome. It's not as bad.
Yeah.
It's still like god awful.
Yeah. 300 is still 1 minute outside can be hazardous to a healthy person.
Yeah.
So that's why when I've been going outside, just walking outside, I've been wearing this giant gas mask thing over my face. Yeah. So
genius.
But
looks cool too.
I did ride on Zwift, and I hate it as much as I always have. And so So when Saturday rolled around, I looked at the state map of Washington. There was one valley that looked like it had decent air quality on Friday, and it was supposed to have continued decent air quality on Saturday, and it was up around Mount Rainier, in between Seattle and Portland, about halfway in between Seattle and Portland. Mount Rainier National Park.
I thought there was fires up there, like right under the lakes.
It's way further east.
You're way further east? Okay.
Yeah, no, I was way further west. The fires were further east, and the wind was blowing the other direction.
Okay.
So on Friday, it was clear, and I thought, I'm going to go up there and ride. And so...
Did you bring your gas mask and everything just in case?
I did. I got up there, and the air quality was 40.
Oh, wow.
But it was smoky. It was not clear. They called it fog, but it was smoke.
Yeah.
So
naturally you rode 5 hours.
So naturally, and actually I felt pretty good because, I kept checking like the different spots and the air quality in different spots and realized, okay, it looks like this is going to be safe to ride. And the place was pretty empty. This is Mount Rainier National Park. This is where people climb Mount Rainier, a little town called Paradise.
Was it nice? Was it a good place to bike?
It was. I can't believe I've never biked it before. It was that good. I did like a 90-mile ride with like 7,000 feet of climbing. There was a 20-mile climb and an 11-mile climb on this route, and they were both beautiful, like phenomenal beautiful.
What kind of gradient?
It's like 4%.
It's a nice steady.
So it's not steep. It's just. You just kind of
lollygag up the hill.
Just crank away.
And you did this all by yourself.
Yeah, I rode out there. I drove out there by myself. I started the ride. I'm like 5 miles into the ride, and a teammate drove past me, rolled their window down, and like, who is the idiot in a dialed kit out here at Mount Rainier? It was Deb Critchko and Kurt Critchko. They were camping like.
Oh, cool.
30 miles away and decided to come to the same spot because they thought
air would be better.
Yeah, the air would be better. So, yeah, of course, I ran into a couple teammates. We were the only 3 people on bikes in the whole park that day.
Wow.
But, I rode all the way to the top, came back down, rode back up with Kurt and Deb, did some like 25-mile descent, which was just phenomenally beautiful. I had a great day. That it was. I rode 5 hours and just completely enjoyed it. I actually felt really good the whole time. So I last week I did talk about a race that was supposed to happen on Saturday. Obviously that was canceled, and it was canceled because of the air quality and the smoke and wildfires. It was not.
That's a good idea. I mean,
because of COVID, they just couldn't do it.
No way.
So
yeah,
it was phenomenal. So beyond that, I rode on Zwift like 100 miles over 2 different days. We were talking about this earlier. With the latest update with Zwift, they have pacer bots.
Yeah, that's new.
Now
it's about a couple weeks old or something.
It's a couple weeks old.
Yeah,
and they have 4 different levels of pacer bots: an A pacer bot, a B, a C, and a D, and they just continually do a certain loop, and you can just spawn right next to the pacer bot, and there's usually like
a big group.
Yep. And so I mean, like I sat in with the B group, and we were holding like 3.4 to 4 watts per kilogram for the whole time, and like in like 2 hours I rode like 65 miles or something. Happy. Yeah, it was great. So it was, as far as riding on Zwift, it was nice to be able to do that. So the pacer bots were kind of cool.
Did you watch the tour while you were riding?
I did.
That's good.
And so every time I got too engrossed in the tour, I'd fall off the group.
That's what
I'd have to sprint to get back onto the group. And so, yeah, it was some interval practice that was.
Lance has been talking about these pacer bots. I'm like, what are you talking about? Where are you finding these people?
I need to do my update. So
I just haven't done the update, so
yeah,
my bad.
It should, yeah.
I thought I had my iPad set up on auto update. Maybe not. I'm going to just go run it. And Lance pulled up his iPad before we started the podcast and showed me. I'm like, I've never even seen that before.
Yeah.
And sure enough, an update. So.
Slightly different color that you would, but it's the same kind of thing. Like you would recognize a friend or whatever on there to ride with, and it's a pacer bot.
Yep. Cool.
I've only been able to find the D and the B pacer bots. I've never logged on when the A pacer bot was.
You ready to go for that?
Yeah.
You ready to go A?
I don't know.
Earn it or something, or do you have to?
I don't think.
I don't know.
Huh.
But it's literally there. It's 4 watts per kilogram or higher the whole ride.
Gotcha.
To hang with the pacer bot.
And that has nothing to do with like what level you're on?
I have no idea.
And you're at level 26?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm level 29.
Yeah, I'm a level 26er.
I think I'm 29.
How about you, Evan? What level are you?
It's got to be 30.
33, I think now.
Gotcha.
I think 40 is the max?
I'm at 32. I'm just back to
50 is the max.
Yeah, 50 is the max.
I realized
that's my only goal in 2021 is to be 50. that's the only goal I have.
I haven't ridden on Zwift since April 7th. I have been fully off the trainer since April 7th, so it was a little bit of defeat to actually.
That's right around when you got your Tron bike, right?
Yes. Well, it was right after my rehab from the accident. Yeah.
Gotcha. Cool. Anything else?
No, I've already talked too much. Are you kidding me?
I'm going to real quick share this. I think Josh does listen to the podcast, so I actually want to call him out on this because this is kind of funny. Josh just ran around his basement 100 laps to make a 1.2 mile run today.
You're kidding me.
My wife was.
If anybody's just wondering what place we're at in the Pacific Northwest right now.
You cannot go outside.
You cannot go outside.
Not run outside.
I've talked about Josh here before. This is one of the most dedicated, hard-nosed dudes I've ever met, but that is like a new level of like, this is where we're at right now.
Yeah, my wife was like, how many laps around the kitchen do you think
that
is
awesome.
the mile? And I was like, I started calculating it, and I was like, about 100.
How many?
I think 160.
Oh, Josh just did 100 around his basement, so yeah, she's good.
My numbers could be off, but that was
She could even get some elevation gain. She could run up the stairs back, and then
we could probably go over and hit up Evan for a treadmill. And my wife was like, "No, I'm not gonna run on the treadmill."
He broke his treadmill.
But you're gonna run laps around the kitchen, but you're not gonna run on the treadmill.
She actually biked next to me while I biked on Zwift one time.
So was she gonna bike? Okay.
Wait,
yeah.
Shout out to your wife.
Oh yeah, this is the other back pedal.
We could talk about these things.
She had some bike related masks. She made these.
Yeah,
these things are awesome.
She actually made these.
She's been making masks.
Looks
for
professional.
People.
Yeah.
They have a little nose thing, so it stays on your nose, and they have little
Mine's the
ear.
coolest. It's like a Peloton mid-race.
She's been making these different masks, and each time they're getting more and more complex and
This is awesome.
I'd say like fancy. And so she first added these little like nose bridge pieces so that kind of like you can basically
pinch
pipe,
it
like
on
a
your
pipe
nose.
cleaner or something
Very,
like that.
very
in there.
helpful. Yeah.
And so you can kind of like pinch it to your nose. And then she's been the most recent addition is these like little pieces on the strap so you can tighten them to the desired tightness around your ears.
Mm-hmm.
And the masks are pretty nice. And then so she got some bike fabric, and we'll send some pictures. We'll post some pictures to the Dialed Podcast,
For sure.
Facebook or Instagram or wherever. And she made enough for the podcast group here, so she made 4 of them, and these guys each got a little
Love it.
bike
So kind.
mask.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very cool. Thank you, Kristen.
So
you.
one of the things that we were talking about is like, I was like, Kristen, can you make one extra one? Because we have the option to give things away to people that support our podcast through Patreon. And so if you guys look at these pictures of this mask that my wife's made, we are going to make one extra one. And I asked Jake what he thought. Like, what do you think? Like give one of these to one of our Patreons. And so potentially, if you guys look at that this week, next week we can do a drawing
Absolutely.
for a mask, and we'll mail it out to you the following week. And you guys can have your own little cycling mask.
Yep. Toss in a couple stickers too or something.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The one
Put
and
stickers in
only
there.
Kristen LeGrand.
Kristen LeGrand, the better half.
Yes, exactly. The much better half of
Way
that.
better.
That's funny.
Jake, what about you?
I think you guys already covered everything.
We talk about all your rides for you.
Did you ride
Pretty
on
much.
Zwift?
Yeah. I rode on Zwift. My wife was riding on Zwift as well. I'll backpedal for her. It's kind of funny. She's out there with another one of the women that does a lot of riding too, and they're putting together their own little group rides, and they're taking over our Discord channel, and they're just chatting
Really?
away.
That's what
if you ever want to eavesdrop, you can
I'm
just
totally going to hop in on it.
Was it Renee's on there now?
I think
Who
so,
else is
yeah.
on there? I think Renee. Yeah, because I
Renee
kept on
and
seeing it on
Mel,
the Discord. I was like,
I
who's
think
joining
they had
Discord?
like 5 or 6 riding yesterday, and I get a notification every time somebody joins the Discord channel. I'm like, who's that? And my wife's like, oh, I just added so and so. I'm like, all right, cool.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of people that are part of that Discord channel now. So, but you guys already talked about everything. We did that fun podcast ride. I wish we could do rides like that more often. It's just
that'd be
really
fun.
hard for us to sync all of our schedules up based on everything that's going on. Lance is all busy, like doing
No, I'm
things
not.
and stuff. Oh, that's right.
How'd the shoulder feel this week?
Not too bad. Well, so my shoulder is actually starting to feel a little bit better. We did that Wednesday ride, and the sprints, I'm just kind of like trying to open it up a little bit more and use my upper body a little bit more, and that seems to be all right. And it will get a little bit sore when I'm sleeping at night. When I wake up the next morning, it's tight and whatnot, and I still like really suck at anything above like my shoulder. Like doing anything above my head is just that's when it gets really cranky. But the bike stuff, when I'm getting into a sprint mode, I can actually start to lean on it quite a bit more. So the power numbers are slowly coming up, which is kind of nice. So
You're biking well.
I
Something
cannot
had been
out-sprint him at all
Yeah.
unless I block him. That's the only way I can out-sprint, or unless I completely surprise him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the technique right there.
So
Surprise.
now that I've said that, it's never going to happen again. So
Yeah. Yeah, no more surprises in there. I almost pipped Jake at the line once here.
Yeah, that's right. I was like,
They
there's a stop sign
yeah.
up there.
Yeah, it was so bad.
I was like, Evan, go now. And
I didn't even think Jake was going to sprint, and he closed the gap within.
Yeah,
the-
you really needed to like
50
when you
yards to the line.
he doesn't even remember it.
I do. I remember it.
when you go by these guys, you gotta go. You
I
can't
started a
just
very
ease
early
past them.
celebration. I kind of eased past, and then
Yeah.
arms up in the air there, and no, it wasn't
that's
even.
right,
Yeah,
I remember
no, it wasn't
that.
even.
Yeah, you came pretty hot around. You
Wasn't
didn't
even
ease-
ballpark.
Yeah, you
yeah.
were
No,
up
there was
there.
no easing.
I'm like,
There was
oh
no.
no,
That was a
he's
pretty
not.
max sprint. Actually, I'll be honest.
Yeah. And like he's throwing his arms up in the air. Right as I throw my bike by him, and I look over, and he's like, "No!"
He did get me too, because Matt was like, "You got him." I was like, "I did not."
I was so sure Evan had it. I thought he was like, Evan's got it. He's
Nope.
fine.
I was looking right at the line, and Jake was already a full body ahead of me by the
Dang
time
it.
he hit the line.
That was funny.
Jake's gotten. Look at his Strava right now. You've been dancing right at 10 hours for like
A long
almost
time.
8 weeks now.
Yeah.
Like Jake's building sneaky.
There's
fitness out
only
here.
1 week in the last
Yeah, there's only 1
2 months. I think
That.
it was.
Yeah.
It was a camping week. So
Yeah. First week of August. Yeah.
yeah.
You know, it's funny. I was our dialed 100 thing. I looked back on my calendar to see how many days I've actually ridden in a row. It's 46.
Oh wow.
And the only reason I didn't ride for a few days because I went on a rafting trip with my
right.
kids.
Yeah.
Rafting
So
trip.
that was the last time I didn't ride.
That's what you do, though, Lance.
I know.
All right, let's kick this thing into the next gear. I don't need to talk about Zwift or anything like that because nobody cares. How about some lead-out news? Is Champ going to talk to the Champ?
Champ is in the house.
There's nothing going on. There's no
What up,
bike
Champ?
races.
Thank God we have the tour. Could you imagine if we did not have the tour right now?
It's
What would we even be
so
talking
nice.
about on this?
Well, and
Talk about
the fact,
me.
yeah,
Just what did you on Swift this week?
That I actually got on stupid Swift.
We'd still be talking about Swift racing.
the fact that we're able to like basically bike inside, because we can't go outside, and have something to watch is fantastic.
Yes.
It's amazing. I could not
Rest days are-
imagine.
Today's a rest day. What did you
it's
guys do
tough.
this morning?
What I watch? I forget what I even watched.
Just some junk, right?
Yeah.
Actually, I didn't watch anything with Zwift.
You were just watching me soar
Just
away
watch
from you.
the
Watching
sweat
Evan ride away from me at 6 watts per kilogram, going, "What in the crap is he doing?"
You're doing work. You're doing
He was
work.
doing
It was a
workout.
strange workout, so it was fun because I was going from like 6 to 2, 6 to 2, 6 to 2. So for Lance, it probably made no sense. He's like,
I
why
kept
is he
catching up, and I'm like,
accelerating?
"Oh, he's now at 6. Thanks, Evan. See you later." All right,
right.
enough with the Zwift.
No, back to Champ. Okay, Champ, come on.
Okay, so we are through stage 16 at this point. Today is a rest day, Monday, the day that we are recording this. Yesterday was fireworks. Stage 16, there were fireworks.
I don't know if it's the toughest stage, but it was at least the second toughest stage so far.
It ended on the
Grand Colombier.
Grand Colombier or whatever, however you say that.
Grand Colombier.
It was an HC climb, mountaintop finish.
Very steep.
And on the last climb, Bernal and Quintana both just popped.
Yep.
They could not stay with the front group. And so it just all just
Quintana
shifted.
and Bernal weren't even the best Colombians on the day, let alone one of them I chose to win the entire tour. He's not even the best guy in his country right now.
No, he was not.
Granted, a very strong country for cycling, but God, yeah.
So Pogacar wins Pogacar,
Pogacar. Tadej. Pogacar.
I Pogacar at the line.
Tadej. Pogacar. We need to do the whole move thing, on Lance's podcast where they like go through the pronunciations. We need to all give our genuine best effort at some of these, especially the Slovenian names.
No.
So I'm going with Pogacar, and I know it's wrong. And I'm sticking with it. I'm sticking with it.
That's good.
It just looks like Pogacar. And
It does.
That's what I'm going to go with.
Yeah.
But it's pretty awesome to see what he's been able to do.
Strong sprint at the end.
We know who the best cyclists are in the tour now.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that clear?
Oh,
it is. It is Pogacar and Roglic.
I mean, it is.
Those two guys are on a different level.
Mano y mano.
Yeah,
it's going to be exciting.
And if if Pogacar hadn't had that mechanical on the crosswind day,
be in yellow.
He'd probably be in yellow.
But Roglic may have played it differently.
Yeah.
And Pogacar may have played it differently.
That's true.
Without knowing that he's a minute and a half down and he's caught back up. So.
I don't think Pogacar really needs the he had David De La Cruz with him, was his last guy with him in the group of 20, we'll say 25, before guys started to drop off. But I don't think he needs a team. I know people are like, oh, the Jumbo team's too strong. I was like, I don't think he cares. Because Sepp is strong and Tom are strong.
Peter Sagan of climbers.
Yeah,
when
it's
Peter
like,
was his prime.
Yeah.
He just surf wheels. He just will sit on the team's.
Yeah. And Tom and Sepp are both incredibly strong, but I don't think Pogacar, the only guy he's scared of is Roglic. Like, that's the only guy that he's looking at in the entire group where he's like, this is the one guy who, if he goes, I gotta watch him.
Well, it makes you wonder, did Roglic kind of sit up and let him have it?
I think he did.
So that
you think so?
I think Roglic in his head knows that Pogacar has to make up the time. So he's saying he's a young guy. Yes, he's Superman right now, but he just needs Pogacar to have one bad day. All he needs is one bad day out of Pogacar.
He's still 40 seconds ahead of him.
What's cool is, I mean, I don't think that he sat up and let it go. I think they're friends. I think they're on good terms. I think they've raced each other quite a few times.
Yep.
I'm guessing
They
that
probably trained together.
But
too,
in the
the
last
races.
2K, they're not friends.
no.
Oh, no,
No.
But
Up
we're
to
not
then-
friends when we were
competitors.
Yeah. If there's a chance to,
We're not even
if we're
friends
going
when
up
we're
a hill,
at
I'll
this
race you. I might get killed. I'll race you. But yeah, no, I have a feeling that he was going pretty much all out. I think he didn't let up at the line.
Pogacar went all in that last 50
Yeah.
meters, though. When you look at his body language, he was like, he wanted that one bad. Which, I mean, you think so. Lance Armstrong used to always say, "Is momentum's momentum," and yeah, he burned a match, but like, maybe I'll go back on my other. Pogacar keeps on pipping Roglic at the line every once in a while.
Yeah,
that may get into his head. Yeah,
Does Roglic care though?
Roglic did.
He's still got
I
the
think
yellow
Roglic
jacket.
is a
I mean,
little scared.
If
of
there was a
Pogacar.
time bonus there,
yeah,
there was.
There was.
it was 5 seconds.
It was only five. Yeah.
It was 10. It was 10 seconds for first, 6 seconds for
Right.
second.
So a 4-second difference.
So he got a
Yeah.
4-second different.
Gotcha. So that net 4 seconds, he's like, meh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because he was already 44 seconds ahead. Now he's 40 seconds
That's
ahead.
where Pogacar probably got really excited that Richie Port was still there. He's like, "Come on, Richie, I need
Yeah,
you in second.
get
I
that."
need you to get second."
But he didn't.
No, he didn't.
I think that if you have a chance to put any seconds on second place, you do it.
Yeah.
Like that would be ridiculous otherwise. I
Yeah.
think that he legitimately got beat. I don't think he sat up and was nice or anything like that, even though I think they're friends.
Yeah.
I think that the other thing about Roglic is he sniped a little time bonus from Pogacar on that. It wasn't the finish of a stage, but it was like at
Oh,
that
you're right. It
little
was like one of the
mountain peak.
it was like a category 1.
And
climb.
that was sketchy because they made contact at that point.
Yep.
Like, and it looked very sneaky, right? Like Pogacar was looking the wrong way, basically, kind of looking up, and Roglic got
Went
it.
around
So I
him.
mean, I think if he was going to like be giving him any favors, it would have been there. and
Right.
that clearly was not the
No.
case. So
Yeah.
I do think they're on good terms. I do think that Pogacar is a little bit more punchy and
He
is
is.
able
I
to
agree.
kind of finish off
Yeah.
Roglic.
I think the time trial still is just going to favor Roglic, though. I think Roglic
don't
is
know.
just so
I could definitely see that.
strong
Okay,
right now.
but
I don't know, dude.
it's a punchy
uphill,
climb.
right?
It's a very punchy
The
climb.
Slovenian national time trial, Pogacar,
Pogacar did
beat
win that.
Roglic
You're right, he
in
did.
the
I do have to look
Slovenian
back at
national
that.
time trial
Roglic
this
beat
year.
him in the road
That
race.
doesn't mean anything.
Roglic won in the road
Means
race, but Pogacar did
Pogacar's
win.
the better climber. He's the better all-around climber, and that's what everybody says. I mean,
Yeah.
not to take anything away from Roglic, but I think
Pogacar's a generational climber here.
Yeah.
He's pretty incredible right now.
that's going to be fun to watch. It really is going to be a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. I was impressed.
gonna come down to it.
I mean,
Well,
so
I don't know. The next couple of days, I think, are going to really set the tone. And if he can chip away to a few more seconds, I think
Roglic hasn't had his bad. Roglic hasn't had anything.
he's playing it super
bad
consistent.
happened to
Like,
him yet.
Like
Yeah.
I know that
Yeah.
he gave up 4 seconds, but in the same breath, I don't think he blew himself up.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think he blew
yeah.
himself up, and he's thinking long term. He's like, all right, I've got the cushion I need.
I need that
It
time trial.
could
Yep.
come back to haunt him, but he's keeping himself relatively fresh. He's had protection by his team.
Yeah.
He hasn't had to go out and really like turn it on by himself,
Right.
to keep himself in.
Can,
like
can
like
you
Alaphilippe
imagine how
think-
blown up this tour is going to be if Pogacar has one, just like in the next 2 days? So they're in the mountains
yeah,
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
So
yeah,
this is the problem with recording on Monday.
I know,
and
yeah.
the
Something's
podcast
happened.
coming on Wednesday.
Yeah.
We look like idiots every
Yes,
time.
it's true.
Just like last week, we looked like idiots.
I mean, Pogacar's got that killer. Like he's not a. I mean, Pogacar's not a reserved rider. Like if he senses some blood in the water with Roglic, he's gonna go and. Oh, I mean, could you imagine if like Sepp Kuss has got to sit there and be like, dude, we need you to go now. That's gonna be an intense stage.
It could be interesting.
there's a whole nother long week ahead of us.
Yeah.
and I think that
Just
Jumbo
takes one
Visma is
bad
playing
climb.
it exactly the way that they should. You don't want to come out and like be reactive.
Mm-hmm.
They're controlling everything.
They are.
Roglic is staying relatively fresh. The
Yeah.
team is doing crazy loads of work for him.
Yeah.
And it's just that little, and okay, yeah, maybe he let Pogacar come around him and he lost 4 seconds, but the net is, I think he's keeping himself fresh going into a rest day.
Mm-hmm.
Granted, Pogacar's going to have a rest day as well, but he just doesn't have the same team support, so
Yeah.
that's going to wear on him a little bit.
Rest day legs too. Historically, you look at the tour. There's some weird things that happen after
yeah,
rest
sure.
days. That's usually
Well, they're not resting; they're still on their trainers doing work.
but just like that
They're-
one day away
yeah.
from that intensity.
I think
It's
that
like, yeah.
most people have figured out that you got to go ride on your rest day.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I was impressed with.
Jan Ulrich once did an 8-hour ride on a rest
What?
day.
Oh,
yeah, I
that's
heard that story. This is like a 90 story, so it could have been like 4. They said 8. No, seriously.
Fish
They
story,
said
yeah.
one day he went out and like rode a massive ride on a rest day and then came out and like did great the next day.
Gotcha.
So yeah.
Pogačar, I was super impressed with his post-race interview, and he was just like, I could have a bad day any day, and Roglic could have a bad day any day.
Yeah.
And he just seemed so like chill about everything.
I know,
he's like, isn't he like 20 years old?
He's 21.
Just turned 21.
I mean,
21.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved his response too to like when they were even hinting at like, would you settle for say? He's like, no, I'm not. He's like, I'm here to win.
Yeah.
The end.
I mean, he
like,
looked
it was
like
a very
that.
direct answer.
Why would
He's
you
like,
settle when
It's like-
you're looking that good?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm not here to race for second. He's like, I'm here to win or not win. Like that's the two. Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if everyone was 3 minutes back, then it'd be like, yeah, the race is for second.
Yeah.
But that's not the case.
No.
Yeah.
He's within punching
40
distance.
seconds.
Yep.
40
I'll
seconds.
tell you what.
Richie Port's within punching distance, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah, he's not.
What
gonna
is
do it,
that?
though.
One
Is he-
bed.
He's in sixth.
Is he
He
2.5 minutes back?
He's 2 minutes and 13 seconds
2
back.
minutes, 13 seconds back, and looked the best of the humans.
Do you think
on
that this is-
stage
do you feel
of
like-
the non-Slovenians?
Do you feel like this is the best that Richie Port has looked ever?
Yes, in the tour. In the tour, yes.
Yeah, he's usually crashed out by now.
He's never been in a stage like that.
Last 2 years, he's crashed
outside
out
of
at night.
Yeah.
outside of when Froome, when Rich was the first one, but they ran into the motorbike, and then Froome was running up the mountain. That was the last time Porty looked this good, and then I believe he
crashed past you.
he crashed out like the next stage, didn't he, or something? Yeah, but that was the next best he looked. Yeah.
Speaking of bad days,
Oh, yeah.
Bernal.
All my
Bernal.
picks.
Bernal
Everyone
lost
I picked.
7 minutes.
in 19 seconds.
7 minutes and 19 seconds. He is now in.
Did anybody else just feel terrible from watching the last two?
Dude, he just looked blown.
No.
I mean, God, I felt so bad for him. I did. I felt terrible for him.
Post race, he was just like, "Yeah, I didn't have it." Like, I respect that, right?
Yeah.
Like,
But
I
then,
feel
but then in the
people-
previous tough mountain stage, when he said like he had his best 20-minute power ever, and he's like, I've never seen numbers like that, and he just got dropped. You could just see the poor guy just like defeated.
But
It's just tough.
We've been saying this since they announced it. They're going to regret not bringing Geraint Thomas.
Yeah.
And that was the climb right there where he would have
Could have
taken
used him.
totally different tactics into
Yeah.
that. And I think
Yeah.
that they would have
Maybe.
fared much better.
Ineos was not a strong. I mean, so you look at this. Ineos's entire squad was out of the picture when there were still two movie star riders, two Bahrain Meridia riders, the entire Jumbo Visma team,
right?
And I think David De La Cruz was still there for Pogačar at that point.
Well, we'll say that Ineos stuck with their leader who got dropped.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit hard to say. Like,
but
could
even
they have had two
before
people?
that, the Ineos guys were dropped. He only had like three teammates with him at that point.
He's been more isolated than you would expect.
Yeah.
And
Sivakov
Jumbo Visma
was-
has
yeah.
looked ridiculous with 5 people,
Yeah.
in a breakaway
Strange.
with
Woot.
strange. They look strange.
Did anybody else see? Was I the one who said that Woot isn't going to be that great of a climber in his career?
Wow.
Wout. I think I was the one who said that, right?
It's Woot.
He came in with
His
Bernal.
good friends call him Woot.
He came in 7 minutes back with Bernal, and I don't
Did
think
he
he was
come-
pushing. He was like staying comfortable.
Yep.
He's like, I'm just going to ride in with the former Tour winner. here.
Yep. He just dropped off and then came in with Bernal's group.
I've won a sprint stage, and I'm going to ride in with arguably last year's greatest climber on earth.
And on our podcast last time, we were asking, like, could he like lose some weight and go for like the Tour
GC, yep.
GC? I mean, I think all of us kind of were like, yeah.
I did.
He has not proven otherwise yet
Yeah.
in the past 7 days. So we'll see.
He's
I
a chameleon.
said
He
he
could be
couldn't,
whatever you
but
want
that
him to
was
be.
me.
I mean,
Yeah.
really, he can do it all. If you want him to be like just like a bona fide GC guy, he just has to make some tweaks during the course of an off season. All right, here's a GC guy. If you want to be a Peter Sagan sprinter, he's already there.
It'd be cool if he was like, I'm going to try to win a classic and
the tour in the same year.
Like
Who
that
was
would be
the last
insane.
guy to do that?
Probably like
Merckx?
Eddie Merckx, yeah, something like that. I'm guessing. Who knows?
Crazy.
It'd probably be Merckx, honestly. That'd be interesting to look at that.
Jeez.
Tell you what, though, I'm really enjoying this tour.
It has
Super
been
watch.
fun to watch.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, it's been spectacular. It's fun getting up every single morning and just kind of quiet, sitting there with a cup of coffee early in the morning, watching the tour. It's awesome. So
It was great on Saturday, just sitting on the trainer for some godforeseen period of time.
How long
at
did
least,
you go on Saturday?
Like 5
Did you do
hours
100
or something. Just under an hour. I'm trying to always do rides just under an hour just to annoy as many people as I possibly can.
A century, just under a century.
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure I hit that like 95 to 97 range consistently. Just
97.
Yeah, I did that once. I like rolled into the garage at like 98, and my neighbors were like, "Go out and finish." I'm like,
no.
I did 100 miles like the week before.
Yeah, you're like, it's okay. It's okay.
Right now, I haven't done 100 in a long time.
100 is not a magical number.
Yeah,
that's funny. Cool.
Speaking of Geraint Thomas, guess where he finished in the Tirreno Adriatico?
Mm-hmm.
He ended up second.
Yep. Right
To
there.
Vanderpool,
Right
right?
behind- No, Simon Yates.
No, second
wait,
overall.
overall.
For the whole, it was, what was it, a 5-day race or something?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He finished second overall.
What do you think? Do you think he should have been at the tour?
Yeah, I
Yes,
think it was a big. I think it was a big
absolutely.
giant fu to his team director saying you
Yeah.
should have taken me to the tour.
Yeah.
Of course, he's getting ready to go into the tour of Italy.
I would love to see Israel Startup go out there next year and just put Mike Woods and Froome in front of any Ineos riders. So then Froome can also sit there and be like, "Yep, good decision to not go and take me last
about-
year.
is
Bernal
Garrett-
finished 30th."
When's Garrett's what's his contract? Is it up anytime
That's a
soon?
good question.
Or
I think he got an extension after he won the tour, so I think that
He's got 2 more years, if I'm not
he's
mistaken.
there for a while.
Yeah.
because I'm wondering if he's looking to jump ship.
There are going to be, oh God, that would
I
be
don't
a
know.
good little talk is how many teams will be stronger in the Grand Tours than Ineos next year? Will it just be Jumbo, or are there going to be a couple teams that move in front of them?
Could be interesting.
Yeah.
Well, why wait till next year? Does this year? Are there other teams? Sunweb looks good.
Sunweb in sniping days. Look,
They're
that was the other
they're
stage we didn't
looking
talk
great.
about.
It's that the Mark Hershey kid.
Hershey's incredible.
Good.
They're the
and-
youngest team in the tour.
Fantastic.
Hershey looks like if Wout wasn't Superman, we'd be talking about Hershey as like this amazing like next generation guy.
Yep. There's a lot of young guys out there that are just
Very strong.
super strong.
Who
and
was
they're fun to
the
watch right
Anderson, the guy who actually won the stage?
Uh-huh.
On the move that Hincapie was talking about his power profile. He said in the K that he broke away, he held high 500s for that entire kilometer. This is at the end of a 120-mile race after he'd already been covering moves. Went off the front at like almost 600 watts for 2-3 minutes.
He attacked and held it. It's like he took
was
a flyer
amazing.
and he held it. That
Yeah.
was so cool to watch because that
was.
doesn't always happen.
But wasn't that like the 4th Sunweb attack?
It was.
Yes.
It was
I mean, that
so
was cool.
well timed.
I felt like the
They
team
were
was like,
perfect.
"Nope, we're winning this," and then they're like, "Oh, you're gonna bring us back? Nope,
Yeah.
we're gonna win this."
And then
Like,
also,
somebody
like,
from our team is gonna win this.
Their weapons for like Rollier type riders, they had Benoot go off the front, they had Hershey go off the front, and then kill it with Anderson going off on like. I love it. There are people like, why didn't they follow him? I was like, do you want to follow a 600-watt move for 3 minutes?
Well, it's
like
because
that?
there's already been 4 attacks.
There was just other attacks. That's right. And
Could
just softened the field up for him.
Poor
It was
Sagan having this great stage. Sagan looks like, you got to be kidding me. Like this guy's gone.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Sagan. He
He's looking
mortal. He looks mortal.
Yeah. Well, in our last podcast, again, we were talking about Peter Sagan and like, basically assuming that he had it because he had a little bit of a lead at that point in the green jersey competition, and it's gone. He's lost the green jersey. He's in second. There's still, he's
40 points, I think.
30? Okay, 30, 40
40.
points.
And,
Okay.
and Bennett has been able to mark him on every sprint.
Bennett's
and,
lead out guy is beating him in each intermediate
and
sprint.
out sprinting him on these intermediates, which is great. They did the one day that that Sagan's group dropped. They dropped Bennett, and so he had a shot at points. Is when Anderson.
Oh yeah, it was Anderson goes away, so Sunweb
ruins
ruins it.
anyway.
And he was like 4th in the sprint. He
Yeah,
wasn't
he
even
ended up
there.
fourth
He still
anyway.
sprinted, yeah.
He still got points, and I think the amount of points he got that day were equal to what he was relegated from in the earlier stage.
Oh,
So,
Here's the thing that sucks for Sagan is still you watch him work through these stages. He's still such a great all-around cyclist compared to these other sprinters.
Yeah.
He's great. He just
Yes.
hasn't had to deal with a Bennett before, who's a guy who all of a sudden is a pretty solid all-rounder.
Yeah.
You think that's what it is, or do you think that Peter maybe didn't
He
work as
loses-
hard as
No.
everyone else?
I
in the
think
pandemic?
Peter's lost that top end.
I think
I
he's
think
just
I don't know.
I
I
think he's
just
just
don't know.
2% off.
I think we're seeing
I
that
think so.
that age with the top end sprint. His overall cycling ability is still incredible, But I think that top end sprint, we may see that gone now.
So I think there are people who showed up to the Tour this year that just are not on their full normal form.
Yeah.
Bernal being one of them,
Yeah.
I think, honestly. Yeah. And I think Peter's another one of those. I think that he hasn't really lost anything because of age. I just don't think he's got the same fitness that he normally has because of the way that the whole COVID thing interrupted everybody's training schedules.
I think Bernal, too. These are just from the stories I was reading. Bernal, all these teams weren't as insulated with their training as they usually are. I think some of these guys, especially at the very top end, do believe that they're inhuman with their training and were training out of their minds during it. I don't think guys backed off their training. I think what happened was when you get these team camps and they're all trained together and they all have a race season before, they won't overtrain because they can't because they're racing every weekend almost. Yeah. And you're around your team and your coach is not going to let you go for an 8-hour ride with 10 by 20 minutes at your FTP.
Right.
What I heard is Bernal was doing a lot of his training on his own. So he was given a flyer to kind of like, hey, you train how you feel like you need to train right now. And apparently he was going on a lot of like 8-9 hour brutal rides. So maybe what happened is Bernal just cooked himself in training and at his best days a month or two ago, and then just didn't come into the Tour with the same insulated training that like in Slovenia, Roglic and Pogačar were able to do. Because Slovenia,
they were able to race.
They were, and
that's interesting.
They got that little taste of racing, and Roglic, I think, came in very, very good contact with Jumbo-Visma's team. Was on it with their training. Mm-hmm. They were all doing the same program. Nobody was overtraining, and they were making sure the one focus was the Tour. It was just the Tour is the focus.
Yeah,
and I think you're seeing that is that maybe Ineos wasn't as insulated with their training, and that's why.
Could be.
You got Sivakov getting dropped from that group too. You got
and I think you bring up a good point there, but I also think that Bernal wanted to be the guy.
Yeah.
And I think he was maybe trying to put down some numbers for Brailsford to look at and say, you know, he's looking pretty sharp. He's the guy. Maybe he was overcooking it, like you said.
And that's the thing is maybe he hit his A fitness to prove he should be in the Tour. And then it's, I mean, when we're talking about this top end, it's like, I'm sure if you looked at Bernal's 20-minute power during that one stage, you'd be like, oh, God, this guy's winning the Tour.
Yeah.
The Tour is the 10 fastest dudes in the world going up a climb. It's like if you're not 105% of your best, like you're going to get dropped. So,
Great.
One last thing to talk about in the Tour. Bob Jungels and Sergio Higuita.
Higuita, yes.
Higuita. Did you guys see this?
I did.
I don't know what.
I felt bad for Bob. Bob's a super nice kid.
Yeah.
Super nice kid.
Bob was out front of a big line of people. He looked behind him, didn't see anybody, and he swung off the front and took out the front wheel of Higuita.
Yeah.
He went down hard.
And he went down hard. Oh. He actually did something to his hand. He had to abandon the Tour. He was
having a great tour, too.
Yeah.
He was doing wonderfully. Jungels felt really bad.
Jungels felt terrible. It was kind of one of these things where he was at the front. He didn't think anybody was behind him. He didn't want to be at the front anymore. So he took a hard right,
very hard,
to get out of the way. And it just happened to be at the right time when Higuita had come up right next to him, and it just took out his front wheel. He didn't see him. They were both looking away when it happened.
Yeah.
High
speed.
High speed. Really rough crash. It went down. I think the point I want to make is don't make big moves when you're on a group ride.
That wasn't necessary. I mean, he went off hard right.
He went off hard right.
Didn't need to.
Yeah, he didn't need to. He could have just faded right, but he didn't want to be on the front anymore.
Yeah.
And
you got to. These are I would say, especially Bob Jungels, some of the most experienced riders ever.
Oh yeah.
And we still make mistakes.
Yeah.
Says the problem.
It was a mistake.
Tour stage.
Yeah.
It's tough.
A lot of riding.
Speaking of Jungels, he's going to AG2R next year.
Is he?
I believe so.
I think that's
which is a very
interesting.
strange move for him. I don't know why.
I don't know. Who else just went over there? There was
somebody else did too.
Richie Poor.
No, it was.
That would be.
Oh no! It was Van Avermaet.
Yeah,
Van Avermaet. Yes.
And
they got a good little classics team right there.
BMC is going to be their new bike for next year.
Oh, really?
So,
cool. Okay, we got to support them then.
Yeah. I like that team then. I mean, that's got a little solid classics core there.
They're putting some stuff together. I'm kind of curious to see who they bring in for. They've got.
They should bring
GC
in MVP.
Guys.
They should bring in Vanderpool.
That would make
on the road
a lot of sense for them to kind of build up. I mean,
just be a classics team.
If they're going to shuffle the deck, I mean, take a look at the blueprint from Jumbo Visma right now. That's
Yeah.
That's your blueprint right there to beat.
Working.
So
last thing before we go to Champ, Bardet dropping out of the tour because of
He's also one of my
very
picks.
serious concussion where he actually had a brain bleed.
He had a little brain bleed.
This is where that was.
He hit the deck. He hit his head.
He hit hard.
He got back up. He fell back down.
And people just missed it or something like that. That's what they were saying on the news reports, that they just missed him having that moment where he fell back down. If like a medic or anybody that had any kind of concussion protocol knowledge, they'd seen that. They're like, nope, you're done. Pull the plug right now. He got back on the bike and finished the stage.
He got back on the bike, finished the stage, and that's when they realized, okay, you're not right.
And if my memory serves me correct, he doesn't remember.
No, he doesn't. He said he had very spotty memory of the rest of the stage.
Chris Horner was talking about that the next day, and he was kind of talking about his experience in the tour. What was it, back in like 10, 15 years ago or something like that. He had a stage where he went down, hit his head, has no memory of the rest of the stage. He said that his light bulb didn't turn back on until 8:15 that night. So zero memory of getting on the team bus, the ride, anything.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And I think that's the scary thing is I think that's a common story, and especially in the tour. There's the Tour de France is still operating. Yeah, it's still operating like it's in the early 1900s, which is a bit romantic. There's a toughness level in the Tour de France that if you're not around cycling and know the tour, people don't understand how tough these guys are. Yes, they're not football players. They're not built like brick houses where they could do anything. These are the toughest athletes in the world.
Yeah.
These guys will break their leg like Contador did one year, jump back on the bike, and have to compete at a high level still. There's Tyler Hamilton breaking both his clavicles and literally finishing
the tour.
top 5 in the tour.
Yeah.
I mean, these are amazing feats, but there comes a line where it becomes very dangerous. And I think Bardet's situation was where I hope the tour looks at that and they say, like, we really need to look at our concussion protocol because somebody needs to catch that. He stood up and fell back down immediately and then sat there. And when I watched the full 8 minutes when they had the camera on him, there are teammates around him saying, hey, let's get up. And he's knocking their hand away. And he's sitting there. And you can see he is swaying back and forth. Like, he's not. This wasn't like let's go and take a look at Roman. You sure you okay, man? No, like, I'm sure he was, like, mumbling at that point.
Yeah.
That was not a hard concussion to catch. There are some that are hard. That was one that is, I mean, that's terrifying to think. That was as good as that situation could have happened as him made it to this end safe. Could you imagine if Roman Bardet goes down and dies?
Yeah.
That tour, which is very possible. He was having a brain bleed during that.
Yeah.
I mean, if Roman Bardet dies, we're having a different conversation today.
Yeah.
They're probably shutting the tour down at that point. That's scary to think that got away from the medical team, which if I owned the Tour de France, for one, I would not be sitting here. 2, I'd be a lot richer. 3, I'd fire everybody who had any involvement with that from a medical point of view and say that's bad. That's almost unforgivable. In the
that's
sense.
your guy, and if you're the team director, you're the person in charge, you have to know better. You have to pull the plug on that situation.
Yeah,
because
you're talking to him in the radio, and he's probably like, blah. You're like, you good, Romain? You good?
I mean, we are speculating a little bit. We weren't there. We don't have full knowledge of how everything truly played out. But at the end of the day, I mean, someone had to have taken a little bit more common sense approach to that.
Yeah.
That he's done.
Yep.
Be done.
Glad he's safe though. That was very scary.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Any more? One last every last thing.
Champ Bailey out.
That was so much tour. Yeah.
That was a lot of tour talk.
I love the tour talk. I'm sorry.
It was such a big week for the tour, though. It was that was a big week.
What we didn't touch on was no riders tested positive for COVID, so no teams were dismissed.
Find out about today.
Yeah. However, the tour director, Prudhomme, did test positive and had to step out.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So another test today for this day off.
Yep.
And then maybe one of those guys that fell off the back, like Egan Bernal, maybe he tests positive.
Yeah. Weren't there a couple riders from CCC who tested positive in the other race, the Adriatico?
There was like one.
Was one who tested positive, and they kicked him and his roommate out because of...
Yeah, but wasn't it like they just said that they kicked them out and they're not sure if it was positive tests, which obviously it was then, but it was, there was something special going on with that.
Are they drug testing? Or are they just COVID-19 testing?
They're drug testing. Roglic was talking about that. Some people asked him about that, and he's like, I'm 100% clean. He's like, I was tested last night, and I was tested after the race, and I was tested this morning. He was tested twice that day in that last stage.
But as we now know intimately with doping,
Slovenia has some good water. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying there's some really good water.
Do we need to have training camp in Slovenia next year?
I guess that the
going?
cows from Slovenia must have a type of protein in there that just develops a really high FTP.
Really
don't know.
fast.
Really fast.
Yeah, it works really fast.
Training camp 2021.
Slovenia. We're going to Slovenia. Yeah.
That would be friggin' awesome.
I mean, granted, Pogačar and Roglič have given us no reason outside of
there's no reason.
We have no reason to say that they are doping. So until they are literally caught red-handed,
they've been good athletes. They're not magically. It's not like we didn't predict them to do well.
There's a group of young riders coming up that just have
they're strong,
crazy athletic abilities. Mm-hmm. Is there something different happening in training? Is there something different in terms of like how we're scouting and bringing more people into the sport?
They're getting smarter with training. I think it's if you look at the history of cycling training, it was dumb for years. I mean, really tough dudes. But
all the way up until the doping era. I mean, granted, they've been doping for a long time, but the really bad doping era.
Mm-hmm. There wasn't a lot of science-based stuff in the sport.
Just go out and ride your bike. And then they started doping, and then they started doing all kinds of crazy
interval training.
Got super strong, and they were relying heavily on the doping agents to help them get through. That supposedly has gone away. There's still people getting popped here and there and whatever. But do you think that they learned stuff from the doping era and they're taking other exercise physiology concepts and proven methods and applying that to the racing? And that's why we're getting all of these.
Brailsford's the best example, I think. I mean, when you look at when British cycling started dominating the track, I think it was those minds got into the sport and they said, we can insulate this training and make this as effective as possible. And Froome always talked about, to not dope as a team, we made sure we focused on the 1%, whether you believe Sky was doping or not. But that's what they're
they're doing all the little things that they could to get away with. I mean, the salbutamol, the ketones, and all. I mean, ketones are legal, but there's certain things where they were walking in a gray area.
That's the thing, right? It's like this is legal, but they're taking stuff.
And like you said, like all of the marginal gains, that at the end of the day can add up. Mm-hmm. An extra 5, 10, 15 watts total, that makes a difference.
Better equipment. I also think, things, I know that a lot of these guys are not on Zwift, but things like Zwift and smart trainers and things like that, they are using smart trainers. And I think that having those structured workouts where you don't have to go out on the road and you don't have to spend 8 hours traveling and doing stuff to get to this location to do this perfect workout.
To plug in all of your power numbers and put you on erg mode and says you're going to go for this amount of time, and there's no room for error. You're gonna be that much stronger. Evan and I were just having this conversation before the podcast starts today. That erg mode that's a game changer.
It is, and I think almost it's compared to what they were doing in the 50s training wise, it's the doping of training now is erg mode.
Yeah,
I mean they used to like Matt said, they used to have to find open roads in a car to pace them. Yeah. Like Yanks Anquetil used to train he would have somebody drive the car at the pace he wanted to go because they didn't have power meters.
Yeah,
Yanks had to know he's like, I think I'm going hard right now, and that's about all that he had.
Right.
So I think that the high end doping, the dangerous doping, is probably not happening nearly as frequently anymore. But I think that's just because we've gotten a lot smarter in the other categories that can build you up to that. Yeah.
Sure,
they're not having to plug in blood bags on rest days anymore.
It's exciting to see how many talented young cyclists are coming up right now. Mm-hmm. That is fantastic, and I think that's good for a whole other generation of people to plug in and love cycling on a whole.
Yeah,
it's going to be superhero after superhero.
Let's
think
go
about
Sepp
how many
Kuss.
new cyclists
Let's go
are.
Sepp.
Yeah, I think
Let's have Sepp as
are
that
we all
next
big
guy.
fans of Sepp Kuss?
Love
Absolutely.
that guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
How many new cycling fans do you think have popped up in Slovenia and Colombia in the last 2 years?
Oh, it'll be similar to Britain, in my opinion. When Britain started having their big cycling revolution, it'll be similar in Slovenia and Colombia.
Yeah, we need a few more Sepps so we can kind of charge the American people here to go out and ride.
Does anybody think, last thing on the tour, does anybody think Sepp, if he was not on Jumbo in that last group, could have gotten away from Pogačar and Roglič on just this day? I'm not saying over the 3-week tour could Sepp win the tour right now. I'm saying on that day that we just watched.
So let me ask you a question to your question.
Yeah.
In that moment, on that particular finish, there was a time where Roglič tried to go a little bit early.
Yep.
Got marked, and then everybody was right back together again.
Pogačar and Richie brought him back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Sepp came around and paced him for a little bit longer. And then there was another attack by, I think, Richie, if I'm not mistaken.
Richie attacked, yep.
And then Roglič marked that. So did
Pogačar almost looked like he was going to break at that point.
Exactly.
And didn't.
But what happened to Sepp in that moment?
So
is it like get out of his way kind of thing?
It looked like that.
It looked like he got out of his way.
Sepp looks back at Roglič. Yeah. He looks back at Roglič, and Roglič goes, and you see Sepp sit back down. So he sat back down at that moment, and you can actually tell he shifts down. So that tells me he's mentally within the wherewithal at that moment to look and be like, oh, where's Primoz? Okay, Primoz has got it. If Primoz doesn't go, I bet he clicks back up. He's still out of the saddle, and he's yelling at him to get on his wheel.
Yeah.
He did not look like he was shelled at that moment.
Why wouldn't he just stay with him to try and mitigate any extra points but time that people were going to take?
I think it happened too quick. I think it was really quick in that moment, and his only thought in that moment is where's Primoz. I think is what his thought
I also
was.
think that's he may have looked pretty good, and I think he probably was, but he had to be pretty close to his limit.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I think when he saw Richie Port go, I think he was like, I can't cover this, and he's looking at his lead guy like, hey, I can't cover this. Can you cover it? And then I think
that could have been what the look was instead.
Like if it was one of the things where it was like. If his buddy, if his leader, Roglic, couldn't cover it, then I think Sepp Kuss would have been like, all right, I'm going to go to the front and drill it as best I can. And I think he would have.
That time bonus from him. Yeah.
But I don't think he was covering that snap from Richie Port.
Well, because if you look at it too, Sepp right now is the stronger climber between him and Tommy D. Tommy D is a Grand Tour winner. So you're talking about a kid. I mean, Sepp is still a kid.
Well, Tommy D was still there.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, yeah, but then Sepp's the last guy with Primoz.
Yes.
Tommy D's gone at that point, so and not gone by a lot, but he's gone. So
where is Dumoulin overall? Isn't he? He's got to be in the top 10, right?
He's up there.
I think he's like 10th or 12th.
He's 10th.
He's 10th, and Sepp
5
Kuss,
minutes back.
And Sepp Kuss is probably up there too, probably top 20.
Sepp Kuss is 17th.
16th.
He's 34 minutes back.
There was one stage there where
34 is a lot.
Sepp had to do a big pull, and then I think he just
he
popped.
That was on the big mountain stage.
He laid down, took a nap.
So, young guy pops on one stage. I really think if Sepp takes next year, Jumbo throws some support behind him, we'll see him in the Giro or the Vuelta leading the team.
That'd be insane.
He's at that moment where he's probably going to have to make a decision, though. He's young, but he's not that young. He turned 26. He just turned 26. So that's still
birthday.
It's still
yesterday.
young.
Yeah, it looks like he's 12.
Yep. But he's coming into that range for athletes, that like 26 to 30-year-old range. That's like prime time. That's where guys are really at their peak prime. So
he's right at the beginning.
You think he needs to decide if he wants to go for it or if he should just
go to Israel Startup, man? Do it. Mike Woods and Sepp Kuss together. Oh,
yeah,
I'm all for Israel Startup now. That's my new favorite team for next year.
There's a few teams out there.
Aren't they going to put everything behind Froome? I mean,
I hope they put everything behind Mike Woods, but they won't. So
no.
Well, they'll go behind Froome.
You think about UAE.
Yep,
they've got some talent there. Pogačar, you got.
Could you imagine if he jumps over to UAE and it's like Pogačar and Sepp versus Tommy D and Roglic in the Tour next year?
And then you've got Sunweb that's got all these young budding stars coming up. You've got AG2R who's kind of reshuffling the deck right now. You've still got the likes of EF too. I know that they're not.
EF's looked great this tour.
Yeah, they've got
Uran's still up there.
Some makings. They've got some
third.
Some older guys.
I forgot he's on the podium. Richie's not even there yet.
We should be clear that Sepp Kuss is like significantly stronger than Egan Bernal. I mean, all the climbing stages he's looked pretty much better. I mean, Ineos has got a pocketbook that they could open up.
Oh
it's
man,
pretty
if he goes
deep.
to Ineos,
I mean, they could,
Yeah, I'm curious to know what his contract
that's
says.
so funny, though, because Sky and Ineos are so hated in America. It'd be really a tough moment for all of us to be like, oh, God, we got to cheer for Ineos now. Let's go, Brailsford.
I do feel like America needs that guy to
we need
something, to do something. It'd be great.
We need a hero.
We need a hero
so bad.
We need a hero. I feel like there's some old song.
Is he from Texas? No, he's from Durango. That's good enough. We'll make it.
Hero. I'm holding out for a hero. I think it was played in. There was a.
It's Footloose.
No, it was in Short Circuit.
Be fast,
it's Short Circuit. No, that's crap. It's Footloose.
Wasn't it Karate Kid?
Larger than life. Wasn't Karate Kid?
I feel like it was. I feel like the movie was Short
Netflix
Circuit.
just came out with
We Need
Cobra
a Hero
Kai.
and Johnny Five.
Footloose.
I watched
It's
both
Footloose.
seasons.
We're getting going on it.
We need a
We
hero
are so off the
movie.
rails right now.
Okay.
So I'm searching that while we.
We just talked about Karate Kid and Footloose in the same 5 seconds. But the bottom line is America needs a tour hero. Let's do this.
All right. Our topic for the day.
What?
Now that we're like
We'll talk about it for 10 minutes.
change it in like an hour and 13 minutes into this, according to the old timer thing over here. Our topic for today: 10 reasons, our top 10 reasons to stay off the bike. And that hurts me to say that.
What?
I know.
Top 10 reasons to stay off the
know.
bike. Now, we've got some low-hanging fruit. And, here in the Pacific
Footloose.
Northwest,
Footloose.
there's good reason. Footloose. Was it Footloose?
Yes.
It was not Karate Kid. Dang it.
It's during the tractor scene in Footloose.
It is during the tractor scene. You're right.
I'm sorry, I know too much about.
I like to think that it was also in Short Circuit.
That movie is terrible. Footloose
What?
was great.
Short Circuit.
Short Circuit was terrible.
You are wrong.
No, I'm not.
You
Footloose
are wrong.
is awesome.
Get out of my
It's
house.
an institution.
Get out of my house. Short Circuit.
I also just watched The Firm, which is roughly from your guys' time period that you're talking about here. Great movie.
From your time period. Firm was like 20 years later. But
That's
still,
right, at
oh,
least.
it's so
About
old.
80s here, kid.
93 is when The Firm came out. That was close enough, okay?
Still same time period.
Yeah, this is a
Dang
tough
it.
topic, though.
We just completely took over
This
Jake's
is-
topic. for
This is a
today.
tough topic, but it's definitely regionally in the Pacific Northwest right now very important.
Yeah.
Because this is,
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So the first one, top 10 reasons. The first one, we're just going to throw out the low-hanging fruit. Oh, we're playing some music here. Hold on.
This is from the Short Circuit movie. I think it was in both.
A little closer to the mic there, Matt.
Okay.
I swear there's a scene from Karate Kid, too, that they play something similar to that.
You know this has to be the intro song
So
now.
this song
doesn't
was
have a
so
bike in it.
epic
It
that it
doesn't.
made multiple movies.
It made multiple movies.
I'm just glad that it was also in Short Circuit. I was thinking like
Could this
maybe
technically be a cycling song if we attach it to just
Yes.
an American Tour de
Can I
France
change the
rider?
lyrics?
Yeah. Oh, can we just go over the lyrics real quick?
Come up with a little parody of it?
We need a Sepkus.
We'll have some little bumper at the end with that in there. Yep.
if you need me, I'm going to be watching Short Circuit for the next 2 hours.
How many of those did they come out with? There was a couple of them, right?
I don't know. I feel like there was maybe 3. There first one was excellent, and then the second one he goes to New York, and I think that kind of goes down. Things maybe have gone down from there.
Jump the
Terrible.
shark. Yep.
But you have to admit the first one's brilliant. Such a good movie.
Johnny Five.
No.
I've never seen these. I
matter
don't
with
want
you?
to.
It's
Do you
crap.
Do you not have a heart?
I do not have a heart for a dumb robot movie
So good.
from the 80s.
So good. I think maybe you had to be. You're probably maybe you're because a couple years older than me, and then I think maybe it's
That's got to be it.
I'm
like 5 years. I'm like 10 years older than you.
Well,
actually.
think about
Was
it.
it cool when you were that age?
Well, think about it. I was, let's say I was 10, and that was a cool robot movie.
And I was
You were
20,
20,
and
and
I'm
you're
like,
this
this
is
is dumb.
dumb.
Dumb robot movie.
Could be.
This is
Right. That's
Whereas,
gotta be it.
whereas Footloose, I'm like, meh, it's a good movie, I guess.
Oh, it's Kevin
Classic.
Bacon and glitter. It's fantastic.
I think you've proven my point.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
Okay, we have gone way off the track.
If
Jake
we have
just
a-
looks disgusted
If
right now.
if we have a top 5 off the rails moments in this podcast of all time, I can think of a couple other big ones. This one's got to be top
gotta be in the
3.
mix.
This is on the podium.
This finishes on the podium for sure.
I could go on and on about Short
so could
Circuit.
I can continue with Footloose, but I won't.
Okay.
But how about Cobra Kai on Netflix?
Thank you.
Cobra
No,
Kai.
yeah, Cobra Kai. Everybody should watch it. It was great the first 3 episodes that we saw.
I haven't
We're
seen
gonna
any
continue.
of it yet.
It's worth it.
I watched
Jake
it when
tells
it
me.
was on YouTube for a little bit, and now I want to watch it on Netflix, but I got to devote some time to it.
It's just an
Don't
awesome
have that
idea.
kind of time.
It's just an
Maybe
awesome idea.
Get on the bike trainer, put
There
some
you go.
quality time in there.
Because it's all this 80s goodness, right?
Yeah,
It's like
I mean, it's
all
of the
nostalgia.
original actors coming back, reprising
That's
their
the best
roles.
part, yeah.
But it's cheesy, but it's so cheesy that it's good.
Fantastic.
It's so bad that it's good. And they've got these full-on fight scenes in school, and they're overdoing it. It's just like they did back in the 80s, but it was like, it's current. They're like, this is hilarious, but it's
They
funny.
know what they're doing
Yes.
with it too. They're
And the
not
way-
they know it's cheesy and they're playing it and it's perfect.
And the writing is bad, but it's intentionally bad to make it good.
Yeah.
And the plot twists are like what you would expect from Karate Kid-esque kind of series.
Like,
but
80s
but
movie.
they totally have crafted it in the vein of the 80s, and they did a good job with it.
It's just like, of course he starts a dojo. That's like, when you see that episode, it's like, of course he's going to start a dojo.
Cobra Kai.
So, yeah.
I'm going to have to pick that up.
It's worth it.
Genius.
Yep.
It's going to be good.
10 minutes later, let's talk about our top 10 reasons to stay off the bike.
We're gonna have to move through them quick, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Podcast is
We're
going long.
We're like at an hour 20
to-
already.
To be honest, I think all 4 of us at this table really, this is it's a necessary topic to talk about right now, but I feel like we've been pushing this off through this because it's, obviously we all want to throw on the gas mask and go outside and just ride bikes right now. But I think people need to understand, I know this is number one on Jake's list, right, is current air quality conditions. I mean, these are not like, we sit here and laugh on this podcast because we try to take people's mind off of what's been going on in 2020. I hope that that's the only thing we can do on this podcast.
We're totally helping the two people who listen to us.
Exactly. All two of you out there. Yeah. I hope we can make you laugh for a second. But this air quality condition, I've got some very motivated young kids that I coach. And it's tough telling them when they're like, hey, when are we going to be able to get outside and train again? And I have to tell them, like, look, I have no idea. It is not, I don't even want you. If you do not have to go outside right now, do not go outside. Period.
Yeah. You can phrase it like hey, doing that bike ride will make you a slower rider just because of the damage to your lungs. And I think if you phrase it like that, they'll be like, I will be faster.
Yeah.
If I
and they're very smart kids. It's just I just feel bad for them because all these kids wanted to do this year in 2020 was just train hard and try to be fast. And when you got kids like that, you just want them to be able to do that. And this has been such a tough year to just
all fell apart.
It's just, and it's even tough now when like me and Jake were talking about is if you're not here, it's really hard to understand. This air quality is you walk outside, you take 3 breaths and your lungs are burning. My lungs
are burning right now, and that's just from walking to the car. It's ridiculous. And the analogy that I made to Evan was go set yourself up a campsite, get your fire going, and then put your tent over the fire and just go hang out in there and see how smoky. That's what it's like outside right now. It's ridiculous.
And it's very, we have a clinic director with Proactive who she is our battleground director. Her name's Katie, and she is absolutely awesome. She's so cool. But she was telling a story this morning where she went, took 2 days off work yesterday. And this is, anybody's ever worked in the medical field, you don't just take a day off work. You don't. It's just something you just don't do in the medical field. You don't leave the clinic, especially if you're a director. And she went and did 2 days basically where she helped people move their wildlife or their horses and everything to safe locations. So that's like the condition that we're in right now. She said she was driving down the street and there's people loading their horses into random trailers just to get the animals out of the situation that they're in right now to some safety. So, I mean, that's like where we're at in this region. So if people are like, should I go outside and ride? Be like, if a farmer is throwing all of his cattle onto a trailer where he doesn't know where it's going, no, you probably shouldn't be. So, yeah, I think that's air quality wise where we're at.
Yeah, the as we record this right now here in Vancouver, Washington, the fine particles, the PM whatever it is scale that they use, we're at 441, and that's just really high.
Yeah,
this is like stuff I've never experienced in my life, so it's not worth it.
No,
it's really not worth it. And
no, there's visibility is amazingly low, like amazingly low.
You had one of your juniors that was out doing a ride on Friday.
I know. God.
We don't want to say his name, but it's funny because Evan's like, oh, yeah, this kid, he went out and he did a ride and he was just wearing like an N95 mask.
Yeah. Which is the safest mask you can wear. I will give him credit there, but still not.
While you're trying to ride a bike, that doesn't work. And I'm like, this has to be the kid that I saw when I was driving home. Yeah. And I was in the car. I'm like, well, who's out here riding a bike right now? And I took a couple pictures.
I know.
I'm like, is this him? He's like, yep, that's him.
And it's so tough in these sports too, because, and this is not like, I am 100% not, especially during COVID era, I'm 100% not trying to shame anybody who's gone outside and tried to train in this, because we do
kind of your MO. I mean,
we're gonna
do something stupid and crazy. Evan will do it.
Like I want people, like, my favorite part of endurance sports is how ridiculously tough people in endurance sports are.
Yeah.
They are ridiculously tough.
Yeah.
This is the one moment I'm begging you to please not be tough. This is just don't. Yeah. I mean, we've got people in these Pacific Northwest communities that have no choice but to be outside, and I'm sure we've all had this. You're driving down the street, you see the homeless guy out there, you're like, this is awful. We just live in a terrible world right now.
Costco over the weekend, I think it was on Saturday. And you've got the big giant doors, right? So all of the smoke is just rolling in there. Like, I'm walking around Costco and I'm like...
And Costco doesn't supply them N95s. Freddy's didn't have any of their employees had N95s or anything.
They only had
which is terrible.
Their cloth masks.
If you're asking your employees to work and you can't fork up... We know the grocery stores have been doing great margins-wise this year. Like, you're telling me you can't afford N95s or we can't somehow get N95s to people who got to work in those conditions.
But just walking around Costco, it was foggy in there from smoke, and it was unhealthy to breathe.
Yeah.
So,
okay, we've gone through one of our top 10 reasons to not bike.
That's the biggest one right now.
All right, that's it. One and done. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Second one, we're going to say injuries.
Yeah.
Mr. Price, do you want to talk about this? Seeing as like you like to train through them.
Oh, there's a lot of people getting injured right now. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if it's something in the air. It is.
It goes back to the endurance athlete thing, though.
Yeah.
Like, we all want to keep going. We don't want to lose the fitness we've built up. It is so hard to build up that fitness, and it's so fleeting from you just by taking off the smallest amounts of time.
I think the biggest thing I'm seeing this year too is without racing nicely breaks up overuse cycles.
Yeah.
So because you have to taper and you got to come down after the race usually.
Yeah.
So even if it only gives you 5-6 days of interrupted training, that's good enough usually to let your body recover. I see a lot of people, and I'll even throw myself in there too, of just we're in this never-ending cycle of solid training. And you can maintain that for a while, but there's going to come a breaking point at some point. And without races, nothing breaks that up.
I'm totally guilty of this too.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want to stop riding.
Well, a lot of riding is fun.
Yeah.
It's also a stress release right now.
You don't want to not have fun.
There's a lot of stress right now.
Or I go out to do an easy ride, and all of a sudden I'm chasing some dumb segment, and there's nothing easy about it.
Jake's dumb wheel, and that's
right.
Yeah. Well,
but injuries for sure. When I was injured in March, I think I was off the bike maybe 2 weeks at the most.
You're over here doing one.
I was doing one-legged drills on Swift.
You were doing crazy.
Stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll give you. I'm glad you at least went with the one-legged. Like the one-legged drill. If I was your PG, I'd be like, you're an idiot. But sure, like that's fine. Go for it. But there's.
I don't know what I was thinking.
All right.
Saddle sores too.
Yeah,
sometimes you get a saddle sore.
Yeah, that's true.
Good. You just gotta let it
be.
Let it get better.
Be.
Yeah.
You guys want to battle over a song by somebody? Let it be.
What movie is that? Go.
I don't want to tangent again. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything. I'll just shut up. Our third thing, when you're overtrained. So this kind of like parlays into this whole like not getting off the bike thing pretty well.
Yeah.
How do we feel about riding for 100 days in a row? We're going to get overtrained?
Not if you're taking math approach.
Not much. Some of us aren't. I think it could lead to you. I mean, you could probably do it smarter, right? Like you could probably do your harder days harder, and have sprinkle some days off in there. And
so we get the two polar opposites sitting across from the table here. You got Matt over here, who's like, all right, got to keep the heart rate under 90 on Zwift for a few days out of the week, and that's good. And then you got Mr. Lance over here that's chasing like a Labrador chasing a tennis ball every segment on Strava.
I am at risk of overtraining. Absolutely. I even getting on Zwift where usually I can take it easy. Oh, there's a pacer bot. I can stick with the pacer bot group.
Pacer bot. It's guys. Wait, that just seems so demotivating. Like, oh, there's a computer program person there.
I didn't say it was smart.
If there was a real person, that's a little bit more interesting.
It'd be like, oh, Garen Thomas is riding right now.
You know what it is? It's like I can do. What if I did a 3-hour ride and I average over 25 miles an hour with elevation gain on this ride? That's like the carrot for me, which is so dumb. Who cares about your freaking average speed
on Swift?
On Swift, it's such a thing to worry about.
I've been thinking more and more about writing some code that just cheats on Zwift, and just to like reiterate the point that this whole thing is pointless. I'm 95% sure that I could write some software that is undetectable and that I could win races. A race, B race.
It
doesn't matter.
Do
like,
it.
Any race you want to throw at it. Like I could easily
Matt, do you have
win
any
it.
idea how long it took me to win one A race?
I think I could do it.
It took me roughly 9 months of training on Zwift and consistently racing to win a race.
In those 9 months, you probably spent how many hours on the trainer like doing it?
A lot.
Let's say 40.
Just figuring out how to race it, then
in
somehow
40 hours, I think I could write that software easily.
Wow.
40 hours.
And then some of those are like money races. And I'm just thinking like they should not be.
Yeah.
They really should not actually have money races. I agree. They should not have money races.
Matt is 90% or 95% confident that he could write some software. There are other developers out there who
are a lot better than me.
Probably.
I think a lot of
doing
developers.
This, maybe?
Oh yeah,
you know,
for sure.
No, I mean, yes, I know that people are doing it. There's multiple ways you can do it, and I know that people are doing it, but I also think that the people that can do it can also go, like, let's say they do it and they win $200, like, you could also spend those 40 hours programming and make something, self-driving car or something, like make millions of dollars, $200 million versus $200.
It's just the dumb enough person hasn't done it yet, because the smart people are doing
something.
So you need somebody who's financially stupid but smart enough to do this.
That's me,
Matt LeGrand.
All right, let's bring this back to the topic.
We've lost it.
Totally.
Yeah. Okay, we're almost at the top
overtraining. If you put yourself in a ditch, you're going to find yourself off the bike for a heck of a lot longer than
Don't
don't
There
chase
you go.
bots. So Lance, settle down, Lance.
No.
Settle down. Topic
Number 3.
Number 4. Overtrain was
number
number 3.
4.
Number 4 would be the elements. So let's say, I don't know.
Ice on the roads.
There's a lot of people that are like, there's no bad weather. There's only bad gear or clothing selection.
I got a story.
I like that mantra, but I do think that it's
at some point in
not
time when
realistic.
a nasty storm comes through, a hurricane or
and Zwift is good enough.
Sleet.
It's great.
Yeah.
Zwift
It's
is
good
wonderful.
enough.
This is going against Velamonte rules, but still.
For several years, I owned a dental practice in a building out in Astoria, Oregon, on the coast, and I would always go out there for a couple days and work for a couple days, and I would always take bikes with me when I would go. And one weekend, one weekend, I went out there. A huge storm rolled in.
Yeah.
What did I do? Did I just go to the hotel and
Went out on the bike?
No. Not only that, it was nighttime.
Yeah.
It was dark.
That's safe. There we go.
No, it was so dumb. It was dark. I'm on a cross bike, and I'm getting out of the car. It's pouring rain. Yeah. The wind is whipping around. There's tree branches falling, and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go ride. Because what else am I going to do?
I will say that I have multiple years of not missing any days of running, and none of those were done on a treadmill.
Right.
So Matt just pointed directly at me there.
But it's like, well, I mean, there's tornadoes in Alabama, and it's like, you just...
This ride was stupid, okay? Yeah. There was like a 40-mile-an-hour sustained wind. Yeah. I, flew down this road. I had so much fun.
You're like, KOM.
Yeehaw! Yeah, I turn around. I come back. I'm pushing 400 watts to go 6 miles an hour to make it back to the van. It wasn't a van. I had a truck at the time. I'm on the way back. I'm going down this country road. There's tree limbs falling around me.
Yeah.
I could have died. It was so dumb, but I was just like,
So our podcast ride that we did last Monday, when we left, I'm guessing that the winds were maybe 2 to 3 miles an hour at most.
Yeah.
It wasn't
7.
No,
I looked at it.
No, that's when we were on the segment. Is that when we started the ride?
That's when we started the ride.
Okay,
it
didn't
was 7.
It didn't
at the
feel like
most.
much.
Yeah.
By the time that we finished all of our little shenanigans and playing bikes on Strava and all that stuff and started riding back, I'm trying to chase Matt down. And I wanted to catch up to him. I'm looking at Find My Friends. Where's Matt? And I'm like, all right, I got to get up to him.
I'm glad you called me.
Yeah. I am riding into some stiff wind. It was like 400 plus watts to go 9 miles an hour.
Yeah.
I mean,
it ramped up to like 30, 35,
gusting,
40 miles an hour.
Exactly. Gusting pretty hard. Finally caught Matt, but that was a big wind event that started, and that's why we have all these massive fires. But the next morning we woke up, or even that night, I was checking different things, and they're talking about big trees that have fallen down. They're talking about branches that have fallen on.
There was a ton. Yeah.
There was all kinds of trees falling down in places that we ride all the time.
Yeah.
Like if we're out chasing wind segments, because that's the only way that you're going to get those, because the person that already has the KOM took it during a wind event. Right. Is that a safe thing for us to be out there doing? No. I don't know.
No, it's just fun.
We're going to go to Florida, and there's going to be a hurricane blowing through, and like, all right, we're going to go chase this segment because
every
we're going to have a hell of a
KOM
tailwind.
Got taken,
200-mile-an-hour tailwind, baby.
Yeah.
God. So just do the right thing and be smart, I guess.
Don't be like us.
Don't be like us.
Don't be like me. It's what you're all looking at me.
Well, no, we've all done it.
Yeah. All right. Number 5, bike issues. I'm going to look across the table at Lance. How many rides did you do with a broken wheel?
Oh, that was dumb.
That was 25.
That was real dumb.
So if
there was a crack in my carbon front wheel.
Yeah.
And he was descending fast.
And I kept riding on it.
If you've got one and only bike and there's something wrong with it, or if there's like a recall that you get wind of, don't keep riding your bike. If there's things that could actually go wrong while you're going really fast,
if your stem is a little questionable,
or if you just ride a trek, I mean, maybe you shouldn't get onto that bike.
You got to be careful on those tracks.
Yeah, exactly. Just as long as you're not touching the handlebars, you're fine.
So make sure that your bike is completely sound. Otherwise, just stay off the stupid thing. Being sick. Number 6, being sick. So there's a day and a time where, like, all right, maybe you've got some sniffles, you can get back on the bike. But if you're hawking up some gross stuff out of your lungs,
respiratory issues, don't ride.
Got a flu, got a fever.
I used to have a really good sick equation that would work for me every single time. I had this thing until recent times. When COVID comes around, I realized that this is incredibly stupid. I never wanted in my life to miss a day of work for being sick. That was a goal of mine when I started working. Still have not. Dumb goal to have. But I used to, if I felt sick in the morning, I would go and swim because for whatever reason the chlorine would kind of clear up a little bit, and then I would run hard intervals for a 5K right after that.
That sounds so dumb.
So I think the adrenaline made me feel like, yeah, we're good to go. No, that's like an easy way to drop your immune system and feel like absolute garbage and possibly actually
get something worse.
Yeah, I was gonna say actually pick up something worse because if you're sick, your immune system's already under stress. So then putting under more stress is usually not a good idea. But yeah,
gotcha. All right, well said.
Yeah.
Number 7, life events. We'll say I don't know, weddings, children being born,
being born,
birthday parties for.
I went for a run on my oldest kids while he was like being born. I was like out running.
What?
Came back. I was like, I'll be back.
Richie Port
was out riding.
Richie Port's in the Tour de France.
His second kid.
It's
yep.
I didn't know
it was during. I was during the tour.
Yeah,
that's a little different. That's kind of the job.
Tour.
But it's the birth of your child.
Well, I mean,
But still, he's like, this
tour.
might be my last or second to last tour.
Yeah,
Well, it's his last tour for being the GC guy.
I'm sure him and his wife had a long conversation about that one, knowing that was probably going to be during
No,
that
I think
week.
she gave the thumbs. It was up like kind of.
Well, yeah. I'm saying as in like I'm sure that he wasn't just like, hey, going to the tour.
Keep that $1 million contract intact. Yeah, show up for those life events. Those you don't get back. You can always go on a bike ride another day.
Yeah. The Tour de France is a little bit different than your 2-hour zone 2 ride.
Or schedule your life events around your
yes.
Your cycling.
There you go.
So we did a wedding day 5K on my wedding day. So we had all these people come and do a 5K the morning of the wedding. That was cool.
That's an awesome idea.
Like a part of the.
That's a really cool idea.
It's a tradition now. All of my brothers, we've all done this 5K wedding day 5K. So we just made it a tradition.
I went water skiing the morning of my wedding.
That could have been dangerous.
Yeah.
Could have been. Yeah.
With my college buddies. That wasn't smart at all.
Yeah.
All right, number 8.
Do a wedding day 5K for you.
That'd be cool. Okay. That'd be really cool.
Take your rest day. You're supposed to have rest days. Take it. Get off the bike. Rest.
You should. Go swim, go run, do
day
something
after Thanksgiving, rest.
I don't know what that means.
That rule doesn't apply to you.
Make sure you get in a good, other sport activity. Possibly throw some goggles on.
Yeah.
Go to a pool. Maybe some running shoes.
That's not rest.
2 things I'll always tell people while they're in a training program is sometimes you have to go slow and sometimes you have to not go at all to get fast.
Yes.
You got to remember that.
No.
I hear you.
I hear you,
but
I don't hear you.
All right, here's another one. Work/career and social development. So if you kind of become that person that all you ever do is ride your bike and you're not developing yourself from a career standpoint and you're letting your relationships slide, you probably need to maybe consider getting off the bike or the treadmill or out of the pool.
You do. And you need to consider those things.
Take some time to, unless you're getting paid to be that professional triathlete /cyclist /runner, whatever person. Yeah.
And even if you are being paid to be that person, probably rounding other parts of your life will help you. Well, except for, I think that sometimes you see some athletes and this is going to sound really bad, but they get a divorce or something like that happens and all of a sudden they have a great year. You guys ever hear the stories like the whole Aaron Rodgers thing right now? Is anybody following this Aaron Rodgers stuff?
No.
Aaron Rodgers, had a rough year last year.
Did he break up with Danica?
Well, I think they. I'm not sure if it was Danica Pat. It was whoever he was dating. This they just recently broke up, which is a big deal. They just recently broke up.
I have no idea.
And he had a great first game back. So that was like one of the memes
yesterday.
That was like one of the memes that was out
4
there.
touchdowns.
They're like, "Hey man, Aaron Rodgers singles looking pretty good."
I didn't watch any football, and I haven't really been paying attention. But are they doing the same thing as in baseball, where they're putting fans in the seats,
no
cutouts?
No, 0 fans in the stadiums. NFL football has 0 fans.
But are they putting cutouts of people like pictures?
It's up to the stadium. Some stadiums are putting cutout pictures, but most just had nobody in the stadium. 0.
The Cincinnati Bengals started out with a blazing loss to the Chargers after missing a field goal to tie it at the end.
And they all have piped-in fan noise. Which,
seriously?
Yes.
Oh, that's stupid.
It's stupid, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think dead silence would be super
way
weird.
More weird.
Dead silence would be so weird.
And they're trying to give some home field advantage because there's no home field advantage without a crowd. I mean, other than you're staying in a hotel instead of your own house. But
yeah.
Okay, move on.
Cool. All right. And the final one, number 10, quarantine.
Quarantine.
If you got the COVID, Don't go out there and ride,
Do
please.
not go out there and ride.
Yeah.
What's
Do
your
not.
protocol for that one, Evan? What do you do in the morning to curb your COVID for the day?
To curb the COVID, yeah. Get a real solid threshold 5K run, and please know that I'm
Go
joking.
breathe some
do not
smoky
do this.
air, and
Do
hopefully
you
that'll
remember?
kill the COVID.
I'm gonna bring this up again because this is like, God, this has been such a long time ago now. Was it in February when we were talking about like we should do a video where we get COVID?
That was
it was
you.
like,
Yeah.
was
Oh,
it
no,
me that said
that wasn't us. That was you.
Was that me? No, I feel like somebody else was in support
Someone
of me
else.
when I
It
said
was
that.
me. I was totally supportive.
I feel like Matt was slightly supportive of it. Like,
You were
like
like,
he was
let's
a
put this
little,
on your YouTube.
He was a little bit supportive in
I
that
stand
moment.
by the fact that you would have
that's
attracted
right.
hundreds of thousands of new followers.
Oh, you would have, yeah, for sure at that time. It would have been. Who would have thought? 6 months later that didn't go away. So
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought? Who would have thought we'd be here sitting right now in a smoky state?
In certain parts of the world, it was illegal to be outside
Yes.
doing anything
More than a kilometer away from your home
So
in Spain and Italy. Yeah.
Yep.
when they're putting the kibosh on the old exercising outside and not being around other people, it's probably best to follow the guidelines.
Getting
the rules,
arrested
right?
would be bad on your bicycle.
Yeah, that's because that sucks. Because if you're sitting in a jail cell, you're definitely not going to be riding for a while.
I don't think they have trainers there. No.
So no, they don't.
They may. Could you imagine if I ever went to jail, the first thing I would ask for is be like,
where's the treadmill?
Please, could I just have one treadmill and trainer? I will do anything for that. Just please, just put him in my room.
Maybe not go to jail.
Yeah, where'd I
I mean, that would be the first step. Would not. Yeah, you'd be like, can I bring my kicker to jail, please?
So fit when I get out of here.
Evan's on Zwift again. That's it.
Not for nothing though. They do have their yard time, right? And they're all down there hitting the weights.
I would
why can't you ride a bike?
I would bring it to my room, and my goal would be, okay, if I had a 5-year sentence, let's say, when I come out of here, I'm going to join a team. Like, I'm going to be Continental Pro level by
No,
that.
because you can take the crank off and form a shiv out of it.
There you go, Lance.
That's somebody with the
I'm glad
chain.
Lance
That's
got
actually
his
true.
mind-
They're
his
not
mind in the right spot.
They would take
bikes
one
in-
look at that Wahoo
they're
train and be
like,
like, really? You're going to bring that in? Yeah.
I see. The cassette is like a deadly weapon.
It
There's
is.
no way.
It is. There's quite a few deadly weapons on a Wahoo kicker.
All right, and our one last bonus reason to stay off the bike was, drum roll please, Matt.
Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, what if you're just too drunk to bike?
Yeah.
What was the other one? Wasn't there like something
hungover?
Too hungover?
Yeah.
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 No.
Yeah,
If you just took a muscle relaxer,
don't drink and
there
drive.
you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drugs. Don't do drugs.
All right,
you
this
just
is
took a
getting really
painkiller?
long.
Post-concussion protocol.
Yes, if you just got a
don't-
concussion, do
don't
not
ride a
jump
bike.
on a bicycle. Yeah.
Roman Bardet. Take a day
One
off.
Yep.
last thing, I promise, folks. It's almost over. You're getting there.
Bear with us through the podcast.
Yep, here we go. Okay.
It's bad when we feel sorry for our listeners.
Matt, you got one last thing.
I always have one last thing.
I saw something about some watches or something like that.
Yeah, let me see. I have
Polar
a video.
Grit.
I did a YouTube thing, and the video was Polar Grit X versus the Garmin Forerunner 945. Pretty good video.
I'm halfway done with that video. I have to come back and finish watching.
So
the
am
rest
I
of it.
actually, yeah.
All my videos are getting a little bit long. 17 minutes for this one. The last one was 20-something minutes.
Yeah,
20.
that's fine.
I should lean towards Garmin, correct, Matt? I was trying to watch that video to really take a look at both.
Yeah, I wanted to know which one you're going to choose. That's why I want to come back and watch it. Are you going to give us the?
Yeah, watch. You gotta finish the video.
You gotta finish the video.
Do you want me to spoil it?
Yeah.
No, I don't want to spoil the video for you guys. Mm-hmm. But the Garmin's are excellent devices, and I'm quite excited about probably both of these companies are going to be releasing watches in the near future.
Yep.
So I'm quite excited about, a lot more watch reviews coming in the near future to the channel. But I do want to sneak some other content in there. I think this week's video, I want to do something that is probably not going to be popular, but it's going to be something along the lines of like, you need to start a YouTube channel. Like, here's why. A video like that.
Yeah.
And not only that, but I'm going to start a series talking about like video stuff. Like here, so it is still going to be, roughly like, this is going to be a short series, maybe 3 to 5 videos. Some of it's going to be like other YouTube channels you should check out. But some of it's going to be like, here are things that you can do to be, to film things slightly better. Here are things that you can do to have your channel be slightly better. So a little bit of a series talking about some YouTube stuff. I'll try to, rope it around and try and make it somewhat about swimming, biking, and running, but a little series
Are
here.
you encouraging anybody and everybody, or is it more so like, yeah, you'd love to see that, but more so from the triathlon community, you would like to see more people making videos because it's good for the community as a whole and might bring more people into the sport?
That's
what you're
so
thinking. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't outlined it out. Usually I'll go with an outline at least, but it'll be something along the lines of start now, get it started because you're going to get better as you go. log your stuff. You're basically doing a bit of self-reflection. You're logging your training and things like that. A lot of YouTube channels are like that, where they're kind of talking about their training. And then thirdly, it's going to be very good for the triathlon community as a whole to spread the news of our sport and kind of get it out to more people. So I'll finalize that and put it out this week, hopefully.
Still say you need to do one on chamois butter.
Yeah. Well, that's not a bad idea. But then also, I really want to talk about like some other stuff. Like, okay, you can film with your phone, do it, get your some of your first videos out the door, and then after that, maybe kind of say like, but you can also use some different camera techniques and things.
You're encouraging Evan to use his flip phone to start making some videos to put up on the tube.
I think I got this. I can make a pretty interesting channel.
He's pretty, it's technology. He's our tech guy.
I got some tech.
But yeah, it'd be cool.
Tech.
I would watch your channel if you had something.
I kind of want to. It'd be cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yep.
Watch
Evan,
the series.
One last thing.
So in the firm, we had a real debate
Back to
over
the
like
80s movies.
So
Oh,
no,
wait,
it was
90s.
1993 is when this came out. Tom Cruise is very, very young in this movie, by the way. Okay. There's a lot of actors in that movie, The Firm, that went on to have great acting careers.
Who's the female role?
I forget her name, but she's the perfect like 90s actress. She's just like Tom Cruise's girlfriend in every movie he ever did. In the movie, though, he cheats on her, and she like. There needs to be a firmer stance on that. Like, Tom Cruise was shady in that movie. He was absolutely shady. He's being painted as the good guy in The Firm, but he was shady. And they tried to act like he was, like, set up for the cheating. It was terrible.
He was set up.
He was not set up. That was a conscious choice that Tom made.
And he fell for the girl on the beach.
Yeah, and you got to get punished for that. And he didn't. He never got punished outside of having a really rough couple days. Like, he had 2 really rough days in that. Yeah, he had to, like, run around away from, the mob and stuff. But
that was a terrible one last thing, Evan.
Okay, yeah, but the one last thing is, if you're roughly in my age range and you have not seen that, because that was roughly when you were 2 or 3 and it was a little over your head at that time. Oh, I was 3 when that movie came out, I think. You should watch The Firm. It's a great movie, and apparently a really good John Grisham book, too.
Okay.
So he opted for that over the fact that he's doing an Iron Man this coming weekend.
That's what he said.
Yeah, because it's a good movie.
Okay.
Because if the air does not clear, the Iron Man is not happening this weekend.
Oh, it's going to be clear.
It's also supposed to rain on Saturday now.
Yeah, but it's like Thursday, Friday, Saturday supposed to rain, so maybe by Saturday it'll be a little calm.
But you're doing it on Sunday, so you hopefully will have everything will be clean and washed and purified. And
Saturday's where we're having our fun little team get-together, do-it-yourself triathlon day, and then Sunday is where I'm waking up and doing a race on my own with
I'm hoping to film some of that,
Josh.
but I have got all 3. Wait, I've got all the kids, so I don't know how I'm going to...
They are welcome to come out. Cassie, would love to see Dash.
Okay.
Cassie loves Dash.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She doesn't know how she feels about Ethan. No, I'm joking.
Okay.
Ethan's her favorite.
Let's not play favorites here.
And then Sam can pace me on the run because I know he's faster than me already.
Yeah, he's got some wheels.
He does. Yeah.
Cool. Yep.
Jean Triplehorn.
Oh, that was her name?
Yeah.
Triplehorn was her last name?
Wow,
what a last name.
What a name.
She was made for movies. Jean Triplehorn.
Way to one-up everybody. Double horn? I didn't see your double horn. Hold my beer.
Sorry,
I got
double
triple
horn.
right here.
We got the triple horn. I got nothing. You
Spare
better
no
know me.
expenses for the firm. We're going triple horn.
We're doing the triple horn.
Oh.
So many good
You got
quotes
nothing?
in that movie.
I got nothing.
Your one last thing is
Mine-
Aaron Triplehorn.
Yeah,
Was it Aaron?
No, Jean.
Gene. Sorry.
You already
Jean
messed it up,
Triplehorn.
Matt.
Yeah. We're not going to settle for Aaron.
No.
Good one last thing.
Thank
Good
you.
one last thing.
Tom Cruise is so disheveled that entire movie, too. He's so disheveled. He's very stressed that entire movie. Go ahead, Jake. Sorry.
He's always stressed.
He's especially stressed in that movie.
Jumping on couches.
Yeah, pre-Scientology.
My one last thing is I did work on the YouTube videos this past weekend and have been trying to streamline a few things. Those will come out, so that is kind of my one last thing. But my other one last thing is the dialed endurance lab and the dialed cycling lab. We've got a lot of cool stuff going on here. We've got a bunch of new kickers that are coming in here pretty soon. We're going to have hopefully some indoor cycling stuff happening come rainy season.
October, end of October-ish.
Wait, are we going to do like a kicker class in here or something?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
yeah.
Yep. And then we've got our Tuesday night Zwifting for the team that's coming up here pretty soon. We got God, what else you got? You've got like strength training classes that are going to start coming around here pretty soon.
We got a couple small ones. My schedule is packed, but we will be working a couple out right now. Yeah.
Evan's working out the juniors for their triathlon stuff coming up this weekend as well. So a lot of things on that front. We've got a bunch of new bikes that just showed up here at the Dialed Cycling.
Yep.
A bunch of brand new BMC bikes, which are pretty cool. So there's just a lot of stuff going on here. So check out the two websites, the DialedEnduranceLab.com and the DialedCyclingLab.com, and you can just see a little bit more about what's going on. That's my one last thing.
Love it.
Cool.
Yep.
Awesome. I think this might go down as one of the longest podcasts ever.
Dang.
I think.
It's an hour.
We're right there.
Almost an hour 50 minutes.
You guys want to arm wrestle again over Johnny Five versus
Johnny Five. Short Circuit. Go watch it.
Tom Cruise, Gene Triplehorn, Gene Hackman, Holly Hunter, Wilford Brimley, Ed
Wilford
Harris.
Brimley's in that too. I forgot about that.
He just died this year, didn't he?
Ed Harris does a great job
he
too.
did.
Yeah.
He did just die.
Ed Harris always looks like he's 50. That guy's been 50 his entire life.
All right, we appreciate you listening. We'll see you next week. Bye for now.